Hey, I
Hey.
did it. I found the original audio. I went through our music for that. I finally was able to fix it.
Yay!
I had to
That
I don't
was
know.
super
reinstall
awesome.
the old Owlite ad because for some reason it got wiped off my computer, and I'm like, shit. So I had to figure that out today too.
The old one is
I got it.
on your brand right here.
I didn't know that, but I got it from YouTube, so I'm good.
I was gonna
No,
say
it's a new one actually.
That was a new one. Oh, that's
Yeah,
crazy. I was so stoked to find that, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I was like, "Fuck, I need to get this done." And I got really stoned last night, and I literally put that together. And I don't even it came together. I was like, "Oh, this is nice."
we've all been
Did a good job on it.
accomplishing. I got a bunch of t-shirts and stuff designed and stuff I've been working on too. So we're all been creative like monsters.
It's been a crazy week.
I don't know how. I think Raz and me operate the same way. Because and Natalie, maybe you too, Delphine. I haven't really asked or seen how you seem more productive in the long range or whatever it is. But I think the way I operate is kind of the same way Nat and Raz operates, where it's just like, all right, we procrastinated long enough. Let's get this done.
That's how it's been for me lately. Usually I'll plan and organize ahead of time, but I've had so much to do, it's overwhelming. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna do nothing today. But then tomorrow's gonna be that day, and it may or may not be.
See, and I wind up doing it late at night after everybody's gone to sleep, and then I buzz all of you guys at 3:00 in the morning.
I just sleep. I'm not even paying attention. I'm like,
what is sleep?
I had to get my foot fish. Stand on a trout.
You can.
It's a fish pillow. I stand on it. It's just high enough long for my feet to touch the ground. Then
I used to have a running joke about a 3-foot bluegill named Ed. He was the bluegill of common sense, and you'd smack people with him. And then someone in an art class made me a 3-foot bluegill. So when I toured with the band, that bluegill would go up on the stage everywhere we went. And if someone did or said something stupid, I would literally jump off the stage and grab it and slap someone with it, and then jump back on there and go back to singing on the mic. It was fantastic.
Okay, so not interrupt everybody, but I think that we should announce what podcast we're doing, and then I have a surprise for you guys.
Hello and welcome, everybody. This is the You Can't Sit With Us podcast. I am Hexus Diamond. That is Mother de la Mort tonight. She's not Nat. That is Raz, the motherfucking slasher. And we have Delphine with us tonight. Akia, is indisposed at the moment. She is making dinner, actually. She was tired. So she's like, I'm gonna set this one out. And that's We Are You Can't Sit With Us.
And now for the surprise. Are you guys ready? You guys are like this.
Yes.
Wow.
Nice.
That was amazing.
Okay, now everybody can squirrel.
Okay.
Yay.
I'm going to
Guys, just let everyone know in the comments real fast, this is the actual podcast tonight. So we will get to your stuff when we get to your stuff. I'm not. If you pay us, I've said this before. Raz and me have said this before. Nat has said this before. If you pay us, I will bring your comment up immediately. I'm kidding.
The episode of You Can't So This brought. I can't even finish that sentence. I was trying not to laugh so hard. Brought to you by whoever pays us the most.
Oh no, my button won't stop.
We worship at the altar of money, guys. Pay me. I am a capitalist.
It has to be green, and I either got to be able to smoke it or spend it. Those two things. I can't smoke it or spend it. I'm not good.
I also accept Amazon.
Yeah,
Amazon.
Feed my Amazon credit.
We like Amazon here at PBD.
I will accept, Wonder Woman any day of the week. I'm not gonna lie. Both Akia and me will accept that Amazon any day of the week. I love Gal Gadot.
Any version of Wonder Woman, I think I'm okay with. To be honest.
I'm gonna squirrel off of Hexus real quick. This is actually my second guest spot this week. 2 days in a row.
It is, yeah.
Going at it.
Yeah.
No,
you
wait.
With us. Splash Pages yesterday?
Yeah. Tuesday. I was with Splash Pages, a comic
Tuesday.
book.
All the days are the same fucking thing to me. Every day is just one long day. It's that's how every week goes for me.
Oh, and you're
hang out with them and do we did sex criminals, and also they had an interview with a really great guy But
Please
that
tell
was the
me you
comic
guys-
we covered.
Was
Yeah.
he a sex
So-
criminal?
Did you guys have Russian accents whenever you said sex criminals? Oh yes.
No, we did not.
Ah,
We
He's a
did
very
not.
good
And we-
sex
Wrong
criminal.
and there were problems because you couldn't like just show the book, because usually when they go through, they kind of just show the book page.
Mhm.
No,
You
you
couldn't-
can't do that.
It was a great
You
episode that I
be
watched.
on-
It was fantastic. You were great on there, but those guys are always great anyway. But like having you just made
Yeah.
it something special, you know.
You couldn't
It was
show
the
the
couldn't
truck
show
stop
every page.
the truck stop
No.
beating S&M mag that you guys were reviewing at the moment.
We could show pages.
It's a
There
very
was,
good
like,
sex
straight up,
criminal
like-
right here. Very good sex criminal. No shows. No shows.
No shows when they went into like because so many pages. I mean, it's a really good comic. It really actually has a plot and all this stuff. It's not like
Mhm.
and the plot isn't something like the pizza man just showed up. No, it has this like really in-depth plot and
I'm here
it's
to
huge.
clean your pool, but
like-
I don't have a pool.
Today's show
It's
brought to you by
it was
Sex
put out
Criminals
by
and
Image
Desperation.
Comics. It was like a best-selling comic, and it goes really in depth in like mental health issues and stuff too. But it was just like
God. I would hope so, especially with this comic's called Sex Criminal.
it.
Well,
Well,
that's
it's
a good name,
they-
actually.
the thing is, before people think that it's all rapey,
If it's not
they-
rapey, I'm
it's
not
called-
buying it.
it's called that because there are certain people in it who they all figure out, and you go through and see different ones of them at different times, and some of them meet each other then, who when they climax, they freeze time. So a couple
I
of them
knew
that
one
go
like
out
that. There was a
become,
movie
like,
when
the
the girl did
heisters
it.
and
They
stuff,
just
you know.
disappeared. They evaporated.
Yeah, this
Wait.
one it freezes time, so they would like go to a bank, knock.
So how many men are frozen in
these-
this then? So every man is frozen.
no,
every-
just certain people, just every.
I'm gonna be
guess-
frozen
Yeah,
like
sometimes
3 or
if they
4
don't-
times a week.
If they aren't off at the same time, they're like with their partner getting ready to go do something. It's like, oh shit, came too fast, and they're just stuck there in their O face, the other one. So they're just like,
What if? Oh my
No,
god!
gotta
so
wait
You
this
just
one
go through
out.
the bank manager and
Hear
then like
me-
freeze him and then just steal all the money and then dip
hear me
no, it
out,
freezes everybody else except for
everybody else.
Just-
Okay, glad.
everybody.
Yeah.
Just hear me out real fast, just real
Okay.
quick.
Yeah,
I'm not into this kind of porno. I've never watched this. I've never ever seen it in any way, shape, or form. So if you guys can honestly, you guys can tell.
I already
that I'm
feel like
being
you're
serious right
lying.
now. What if someone O-faced while space docking, and they're just like this, O-faced? Yes.
That's fucked, man. That's.
I mean, could you imagine that?
But
Like
I
your
love that you
mom comes
prefaced
home
it with
and
a
you-
monologue about how I don't watch this, but if I did, it would sound and look like this.
but I just wanted to say I can get everybody. If you want to go check out some fun comics, go check out Splash Pages. You can catch them on Facebook, and the network is The Door Getting, and they just have a lot of fun stuff too.
Can I get you to? I'm not being a dick here when I say that one more time. You said the first part. You said too fast.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
The podcast was Splash Pages, and
Splash pages.
they
Okay.
are
Sorry.
and they are underneath The Dorkening, which has like 40 different podcasts going under it right now, I think. So
Oh, that's rad.
you can find them on YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. They're fun.
You could. And where can you find Sex Criminal?
Sex Criminal you can find at your favorite comic book store or online comic shop. It's put out by Image. Like this isn't some
Mhm.
Whoa.
little like indie
Image?
thing. This was an Image comic.
No,
See,
you
this
should
kind
not
of
have brought
reminds
up.
It
me
has-
of the 1970s pulp fiction, like detective books, where everybody's running around like
Those.
Naked and stopping time with sex.
exploitation. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty cool though.
That-
I like it. I like it.
That's awesome.
It was
What
really
was-
good.
Did Image also put out the other comic that was it was actually gory and super gory. It was actually very much splatterpunk. It was Cross or something like that, where they would develop this rash down their face and
I'm not
then a
sure.
Sounds
cross.
familiar.
And it was obvious. It was called Cross. And then whenever they developed that rash, it was basically like 28 days later, but they were completely coherent, and all they wanted to do was rape and murder. And it was like
That
it,
sounds like
like
something out of
Sad.
Dark Horse or something.
yeah, it was one of those
But this-
comics
yeah.
that my buddy got it, and it was one of the big comic book producer or whatever names that actually put it out, and it kept coming out for a long time. They just
Mhm.
completely ignored the rules about werewolf or lycanthropy and all this other stuff. They're like, nah, we don't care about that DC stuff if you're gonna follow those rules. Mind you, I'm a huge DC fan.
Crossover, I think is what it was called.
No, Cross.
Exactly. Crossover, Cross, and Southern Cross.
No. I don't. Is there like the cross on their face from like a rash, and then there's a bunch of gore?
Some of them some of them there are. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not sure if it's just like one property that's like that tells different stories. It seems like. So I see
Yeah.
different covers of this. Yeah, looks awesome. I haven't read that one. I
It's
got really into. I was a huge Spawn fan, still am, but like the Violator comics were like what took me to Image back in the day.
if you guys can't, and I actually from what Del you were saying, like if you obviously you can read those comics. They're graphic, but they're good. They're super graphic, but they're super good. Just like the one comic you were saying right now. So
yeah, and this one wasn't terribly horrible. It's stuff you can't show on YouTube and Facebook and stay up, you know.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, no, we don't want to see any
cool, man.
like drawings and things like that. Or
the crazy thing with the like YouTube, especially if you've ever seen Soft White Underbelly, where the guy interviews anybody, no matter who it is.
I've seen that. Yeah.
His whole purpose too is to interview these people, and a lot of these people come on and are like, "Hey, don't do this. Don't go off and become a prostitute because it's not a glamorous lifestyle." YouTube would literally demonetize them and throw them in the back of the algorithm because
that's when you need to take that stuff to Twitter. Thank goodness you can still do stuff like that there. That and I don't know if we would even have the ability to do it at MeWe.
I don't know. Well, you do. Just MeWe is MeWe's real rapey.
It is rather rapey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we just forgot how the internet used to be. The internet used to be very rapey.
I have not heard that term in like forever. Chat roulette.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's still a thing anymore.
Wasn't it like up there with the Yahoo like chat groups? That was.
I love the Yahoo chat.
I mean, it was his own thing, but very similar. Yeah. Well, like you take a chance, you get into random like video chats, but 9 times out of 10, it's probably just gonna be a dick. Like
you're
probably
like
just gonna be a dick. Yeah.
But the cool thing though back then with those chat groups, it was like you had dial up. So the minute you started seeing a vein, you're like, I'm done. Now it's just all in your face.
Yeah, I wanted to troll that, but I never got around to it. I thought it'd be fun to just like with this hair, I can wear the white nightgown, have black makeup, and let the hair just be hanging down and just come up as
like
the ring.
All right, let's say hi to some people real fast, and we'll get into the Heaven's Gate. Into the
do your one last scroll off that you were going to do.
Yeah,
so we can
your buddy
on that too.
I got my book. I forgot his name for a second. Steve Van Samson. I got I guess I won the other day. All I did was stop in and say hi.
If you go to the clutch when we're doing live shows, if you're in the comments, your name gets put in for the drawing that we do at the end of the show for free merchandise. And like Hexus won one of the 2 big prizes. And I want to see what he doodled in there because he said he autographed and was going to do a sketch.
I don't know.
Yeah,
he did. He did on the first page.
Yes.
He draws like my buddy Adam Fredrickson. He draws that's how he draws. I don't know if you can see it. He does like.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that is cool.
It's right there. Thank you so much, Steve.
It's amazing.
And he gave me a bookmark.
Steve, yeah.
I draw, man.
You can reach Steve on Facebook as well. He has his own Amazon page. I'm like, hi, I'm Carrie. I'm a guest. I'm going to promote this shit out of everything.
And a lot of people have been doing that for us lately too. Like I know Splash Pages, like they talked on a couple of their shows about you, but also about PBDC Network. I mean, like they've been plugging us, man. And we've been sharing people back and forth, sharing hosts.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's all about.
We had Jeremy from over there on one of our last buddy check-in episode too. So I mean, it's really cool stuff.
And speaking of which, we will have Steve's link. I have been super slow. I apologize. It all falls on me. But go to our shop area on the website. We have a lot of really cool recommendations.
Wait a second.
Do what?
Our website.
But we'll have a link to his stuff on our Amazon shop page, our website shop page, and that'll be super easy for you to find it.
Right there on the bottom, guys. PsychoBunnyDC.com.
And then shop.
Yeah, that's everything we're doing. The Amazon recommendation stuff. It's some pretty cool stuff where we get to all the things we talk about. We just go in there and like make links for you guys, so you can just pop in there, slap it in your cart, and buy it.
See, I want the
Necronomicon.
Necronomicon.
That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks like an awesome cooking book, man. Like seriously, I'm gonna get that and try some of the recipes out of it.
So,
Okay, now we
real
can say hi.
fast. Hi. Shelby, hello. And then she says hi to Calvin, and Calvin says hi back
Hello.
to her. Calvin
And
says
it's
hi
Friends.
to all of us. And then
Hi,
Shelby says
Calvin.
hi to Mother de la Mort. And
Hi,
then Shelby
Shelby.
says hi to me and Raz and Delphine.
Hey,
And then Rob Lilly.
Hi,
Hey, Rob.
Rob.
Did I say that right? Is that your last name? Lily? Okay.
Lily.
Hey, all.
Yeah.
And then Jenny, hello.
Jenny.
Hi, Jeannie.
Hello, Raven.
Raven.
Hello, East Coast Hunters. And
Coast
then
Hunter.
I always forget her name because she has the
Hello.
runes up. She was on Mother de la Mort at one time because they restore
I want to say
headstones.
Joss.
There you go.
Flint.
Yes.
Joss
Yes.
Flint. But I don't think that's how you pronounce it.
she normally, I think they, I'm not sure. I can't read runes. I'm sorry. You think I
We
should
can just call her the Runic Warrior.
Yes.
It sounds
Let's just call her
nice.
Jay. Hey, it's Jay
Jay.
in the house.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Jay.
Chanel. There we go.
Chanel. There you go. Johnell.
Johnell.
There you go.
Johnell.
Yes.
Johnell.
Terrible to
There we go.
I'm absolutely
Thank you.
terrible to our fans. I'm sorry, guys.
I have notebooks with clips and everything. I'm the organized one. Well, besides super organization woman up here who has everything.
You did just a super fan. Super fan. There you go. Awesome.
I'm a dinner fan.
I'm a supper fan. I'm
dinner
fat,
fan.
obviously.
I like supper too.
That's my makeup for Hulung.
Hai Lung.
Hulung. There you go.
Hai Lung.
Ritual.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hai Lung, like
Very awesome.
Odruna. I'm still
Yeah.
working on that with the.
Did I ever tell you the time I called Einar a racist on accident?
You did.
Yeah, and I really want to get him on the clutch at some point. So we're gonna work that connection.
I'll have you
and
talk to my friend Ren. She's actually really good friends with him. This is back. Okay, I know we're scrolling one more time before we get into the meat and potatoes here. But this is back in the day when Facebook, when you actually tag somebody, you can actually change the color of the tag.
Mhm.
And her tags were slightly dark blue. And then there was other stuff right there. And all I said, I didn't call him a racist, but I did say, hey, be careful getting into the folk stuff with the black metal side. There is some NS black metal things that's going on there. You got to be careful with it. And then all of a sudden was like, who the fuck is this Einar guy like replying to me? It was Einar talking about his days in Gorgoroth and stuff like that. And I was like, well, nice way to meet this guy. I didn't mean to call you a racist. I wasn't saying you were a racist. I'm just saying there's some issues here.
And then
so
Einar
like your
said,
buddy, he was a racist, but
no, Gold's not a racist.
You better back up on me right now, or I'm gonna eat you. You gonna get that.
What the holy fuck was that?
What the hell?
I'm gonna tell you one thing though. You better back up on me right now, or I'm gonna eat you. You gonna get that.
You need to get what's his face from what is it? Sling Blade. You need to get that the
I can do his
I
voice.
do.
Vespers
I'm
on.
gonna lose from a mental hospital. Some people call it a Kaiser blade, but I call it a sling blade.
So good.
Or my personal favorite.
I like French fried taters with mustard.
You shouldn't have done
the
that.
only
You
one
did the
who doesn't
boy.
have the
You
song.
get
Yes,
the boy.
done that, boy.
Raz has to do all my sound effects for me, so I don't have a sound effects box.
We don't-
I can do like a shit ton of different voices. I just haven't done them in forever.
Oh
I
yeah.
always forget about Sling Blade.
Sling Blade was one of the best. I mean, seriously.
Oh, it was such a good movie.
Have you just seen Billy Bob Thornton get into character for that when he literally he transforms?
I was gonna
It's the
say,
neatest
even
thing.
when I look at him now, I cannot see that character. Like
I
he
forgot.
really did transform his face.
I
Oh,
forgot
yeah.
that Billy Bob Thornton was in Tombstone.
Oh yeah.
He's
yeah.
chubby in it,
Mhm,
and he doesn't look like Billy
mhm.
Bob Thornton. And
Did
it's
you
the
know-
first scene where Kurt Russell slaps him and takes over his spot. And I was like, "That's Billy Bob Thornton." I was like, "I didn't." I've seen that,
That
movie a
is?
million
Oh,
times.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen that movie over and over.
Ned
and over.
from South Park, they actually based the sound of his voice modulator on Sling Blade, but it's a higher pitch because Sling Blade's like, and then he's like, they're coming right for us. It's the same tone, just slightly higher, but they use that voice for the modulator for Ned.
Was that South Park? Did you say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so did you see the thing that was posted with Cthulhu is now a part of South Park, and
Yeah,
Cthulhu's
they
been
had-
a part of South Park for years.
since the
well,
coon.
but
Yep.
is it Randall or Randy? Is a
Randy.
Marsh? Randy's a
Marsh, yep.
Marsh. So
Runs Deputy
like
Farms.
Randy.
so he could be related to Obadiah Marsh from Innsmouth.
There's a thing about that,
And
actually.
Well,
yeah, I saw that just the other day. It was the first time because I don't watch South Park. It
Yeah, yeah.
it got
And
annoying to me at the
I'm
first
obsessed
couple
with it
seasons.
entirely. See,
Yeah.
They
they first
do-
came about back when the last big BP oil disaster, and they were
Mhm.
using that in the show and making fun of it for like a whole season, and that was their superhero season. They really did all the superhero stuff, and Cthulhu came about because BP dug again, had another oil accident, and they accidentally awakened Cthulhu from Relay because of how deep they went with that particular oil drill for some reason.
they drilled into Raleigh or Raleigh or
Relay.
they drilled into Raleigh, North
Relay.
Raleigh, North
Yeah,
Carolina.
Relay.
That's where
Yep.
Cthulhu is in
Oh,
Raleigh,
Raleigh.
North Carolina.
I thought you were talking. I thought we were on HP Lovecraft, and I was
He
thinking
is,
of
but
Lorraine.
he pronounces it Raleigh, like North Carolina.
we-
So now,
could we
now
be
the
on
new mythos is that he's from North
HP?
Carolina, apparently.
HP Love Cats. That'd be awesome. To love HP Love Cats. That'd be great. I'm sorry. I would love it if
Well,
if you had
He does
if
write a
you
lot
had like
about
a
space
Saw
cats.
revival. But it's all
See,
Writes a
and
lot about
I was
cats.
I was telling Odd Daughter. I said, you know what would be cool? A Cthulhu coffee company, and there's already
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
We could do a podcast and just have it be love chats, HP love chats.
HP
I
Love
love
Chat. I love that,
We need
actually.
the HP ahead of it. But
HP Love Chat.
There's a
Give me a
face
dating
behind
show.
this.
There we go.
That's what it sounds like. We could do criminal
I see the
dating,
ghost in the background.
We could do
like Ludi did a long time ago. Do you remember that?
we
I
could
do.
do sex criminal dating.
I wanted to be like singled out, like from MTV back in the day, like a really cheesy like dating show where I'm the host, that kind of a thing. Like, sounds
Oh,
fun.
who was that dude? The one with
There-
from the dating show. I know you're talking about Raz.
Oh, what was his name? He was in a whole
Chris
bunch of
Hardwick?
the game shows.
Chris Hardwick, yeah. He was fucking rad.
That's where he
always laughed
started.
at his-
Yeah, before he did all the other
Mhm.
shit. Yeah, that's where
I
he started.
laughed my ass off at his name because he took that Hardwick from Debbie Does Dallas. I don't know why I know this. But no, there's the Hardwicks in Debbie Does Dallas.
You know why you know.
Because I have
You know,
I love old school porn.
Hi, Rob.
you know how there's the letter section at the end of a lot of comic books where
Mhm.
the people send in. Okay, so the sex criminals, theirs were the letter daddies, and
Instead of Lover
It
Daddies,
was
that's cute.
it was crazy because like I said, some of it covered a lot of really serious shit, and so people would be
Mhm.
writing and being like, "Oh my god, this was like exactly my experience as a child. I didn't know who to talk to. My parents didn't really want to talk to me. You don't learn about this
About
kind of stuff
stopping
in
time with
school.
fucking?
You can't find but well, no, just exploring your sexuality in
Okay.
general
I was like,
Okay.
and stuff. Yeah, no, but because she thinks like that's what's supposed to happen because nobody's told her, so she like
Wait,
runs up
wait
to
a
the slutty girls and she's like, "So you know
So-
that thing when everything stops and there's like swirls going around after you touch yourself?" And they all look at her and she's
you
like,
didn't tell
"No,"
me
and
this.
runs away.
I'd run away too.
failed to say that this was also a coming of age comic.
yeah,
Sex
Parts of
criminal
it.
coming of age.
Right.
only part. Yeah, coming on.
It's a 31 issue
Why are those
comic,
pages
but issue
sticky?
31
Coming.
they decided to let number as 69 just because
See,
They are
I ordered a
wacky as
copy, but
well.
I couldn't read it because by the time I got it, the pages were all stuck together.
And it was musky.
What
But-
if you
but they do
see this
funny
made me think? What if you did a book and you purposely jumped page numbers?
People done that.
Have they? Where
Oh, yeah,
everybody's
yeah.
going,
Yeah.
where
If
in the
it-
hell is page
yeah.
24?
We call that like that's like an old school Andy Kaufman gag translated into the literary world, and people have been doing it on and off for years.
Look, if you
Some
do
people
that,
do it with movies too. Like Thanksgiving was this hilarious movie about a killer turkey. It's a very B movie. I love it.
I know
but
which
after
one
they
you're
made-
talking about. I haven't seen it. I know.
So they made part 1, right? And then out of nowhere, they made another one, but they called it part 3. And everybody's like, where's part 2? And people freaked out about it. And you have to watch the movie to find out that they made part 2, but it was so fucking terrible. They had to remove like all known like existence of it from the world. And that's
Mm.
what 3 was about. 3 was about looking for a copy of part 2. It's so fucking messed up.
Firefly, they did that with that too. The episodes
they?
are complete. You have to watch it. The episodes are purposely not in order. It's like, you'll watch 1 and 2. They're not.
Mhm.
They're 1 and 2. 2 is like in continuity with episode like 12. It's just
I
how they
love
did it with
those kind of
Firefly.
Easter eggy
Yeah.
type things to where you don't really, until
Firefly.
you're like really paying attention. You're like, wait a minute.
And then
Do they
you
have a
find out that
watching order?
the series Firefly, Serenity, and stuff like that. Yeah, you have to watch it in a specific order.
Yeah.
In order to actually see how it works.
Yep.
And then you still have to watch Guardians of the Galaxy because it is continuity to Guardians of the Galaxy. Nathan
Yeah.
from Firefly is in Guardians of the Galaxy.
What?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's true.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I like the space flowers.
Yes, there's Firefly.
Fire, the
Yeah,
fire
there's Fireflies. Hold on a second. We got to turn that mic on.
Oh, yay. Apparently Rammstein is now involved. Because he's
Rammstein? Rammstein.
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 It's Rammstein. He's my lawyer.
Ooh.
All right.
I figured I'd step in for a second. And say
This is
hi.
gonna be so confusing on
Yay!
Spotify. Like people are like, "Why is Akia just saying hi for a second and then walking away?"
Because I gotta go cook and like be a wife and shit.
That's right.
Damn
Fuck
it.
yeah. See,
Important,
Look at that, guys.
Important things to do.
go ahead and
Can we
message me.
share?
Email me
Oh,
on the
wife.
side. I'll teach you how. I'll tell you guys how I did this. How I accomplished this.
Insert clip from the Working 9 to 5 song right here.
Comment on this.
She's just shaking her head.
I'm putting my titties in tea right now. Hold on.
I think we should get
am
something
the
for that.
champion. I am the champion.
Titties and Tea brought to you by PBDC.
Titties and tea, and she's gonna make dinner.
That was a very heavenly sound.
Sorry.
Oh, you're sweating.
I am very
Excuse me.
sweaty.
Oh,
That's the
See,
kind
and
of
I
sound
did
you
this
might hear in
one
front of Heaven's
specifically
Gate.
for a cop.
Perhaps.
Is she still in the room?
No, she's walking away now.
what just happened?
Natalie loaded up her soundboard for you tonight, and you're not here for it. And she had an Italian one too. All right, here, real fast. Here's my headphones, so you can hear.
Hold
Wait a
on,
second.
hold on.
Hold on. There you go.
All right.
Oh my
Are
god,
you-
the
you got-
sweat!
Oh,
You got your wrist going?
hey! We would have used the Mario stuff, but we would get sued.
It sounded like Mario.
No,
It's a Luigi
you
board.
can't even say Wario either, because the Mario is like owned by Nintendo.
It's a Luigi
Nintendo.
board. Oh, God.
I like turtles.
All right, I like photos. I'm getting all my
There's a lot of
stuttering out of the way.
movies.
I'm getting all my stuttering out of the way because I got to read.
It's 31 minutes in, and we have learned so much about sex crimes. I feel like this episode should have just been about sex criminals. That's like
I know
my
the
takeaway
one
right now.
cult, where the cult leader doesn't fuck anybody. Like no,
I know.
one.
I know.
He does not fuck anybody. In fact, he does the opposite.
I
He
feel
gets
very
his
let
balls
down by
cut
this
off.
cult.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Dale, you can say fuck. You can say it this time. Everyone at
Oh,
once.
I know.
Uh,
Fuck,
I'm kidding.
fuckity, fuck,
Fuckity, fuck.
The episode of
They-
1,000 bucks.
They had to give a limit to how many times Chucky could say fuck in the
Yep, they did.
series.
Did
I think-
they?
Was it 7 or 10?
Yeah.
They, have
He,
to do
like,
that
got-
with, they
For the
almost
TV
did
show,
that
yeah.
with the South Park movie too, even though it got into the Guinness Book of World Records for the most time saying fuck or the most swear words, I think.
Yep.
I think it was the most
It-
swears.
They did their episode Night of 1,000 Shits. That was the one that got them like pushed over into the actual record book. It was the whole
I
episode. They just said it.
Thought the movie too, because they said was
Yeah, there's
nonstop.
there's two different records. That was the most time said in a movie, but the most time said in one broadcast period. They met it in that episode, but then like times 10 at least what the actual number was, so no one can ever hope to do it again unless they just say it
And-
as the
and
only
they did
dialogue
it-
in the entire thing.
They also did it after 10 o'clock too, where the standards couldn't come after him either, which was the best. Shit.
That would be the best thing ever, to do an entire show and like have it all be like you have all the plot and you know what you're saying, but just say fuck. Also, like fuck.
I can do
Fuck,
that.
like the
Fuckity, fuck,
like
fuck.
like the Charlie Brown people, only like the parents, only it's just all fuck.
I have never
Fuck.
I have never gotten away from hearing in Kill Bill. Yeah, when they with the dude who was
I love
wearing
those
the
movies.
Charlie Brown komodo or whatever
Mhm.
it was. And this was how Lucy Liu was it Lucy or yeah Lucy Liu that's
Yeah,
who
Lucy
played
Liu.
it, how she was how she said Charlie Brown. I was
Yeah.
like I don't know why it always was like dude she's already hot to begin with and then she said it that way I
See-
was like god damn it and she's a Yakuza boss so I was like this is even better.
And that was my favorite whole scene in all of Kill Bill, which I absolutely love. Kill Bill was the one where
Love those
she
movies.
lost her temper and went down the table and cut that guy's head off.
It was
That was
great.
my absolute
That scene was amazing.
favorite
I
part of that movie.
You know, I know we're scrolling out a lot here and we're already 33 minutes in, but one of the coolest
34.
scenes was that because
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino gets so much shit for using the N-word left and right with having white people do it and whatnot. And
Mhm.
he's like, he was even saying, he's like, you have to understand, like especially with the people of color that I have using these words, I make them the most intelligent characters.
Mhm.
And they are. Look, every character that Samuel L. Jackson plays in there, he absolutely has the most respect for him and is one of the most intelligent people on there. The
Mhm.
dialogue back and forth in Pulp Fiction between Jules and Vincent Vega and
Mhm.
Quentin Tarantino's character. I can't think of his name right now at the moment.
Yeah.
But that whole dialogue with the dead inward drop off, you
Mhm.
know, that
Yep.
was brilliant how he did that. You know, it wasn't coming from a place of hate. It was literally coming from a place of going, "What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Why did
Well,
you bring a dead body here?"
People need to understand too that good art is supposed to be provocative. It's
Oh,
supposed to be.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, look at
It's
Stephen
not
King. He
something
gets
that
in
you
trouble for it a
hang
lot too,
in
but
the lobby of your doctor's office.
right.
Oh, exactly.
King gets like chewed out for it constantly, but if you look at a lot of the characters that he writes,
Mhm.
there are people in real life that are that way, and some of his characters come across as very
Yeah.
real people. The way
Mhm.
they're supposed
yeah.
to. That's how they're written, and he
Gangsters,
eats a lot of shit for that. But he's like, well,
gangsters,
people like this
monsters,
exist, so
stressful situations
Yeah.
do not have this, I don't know, Thomas Kincaid picture of things of how people get out of it. It never is. It is dirty and gritty. And when
Mhm.
people portray them properly in movies and in fiction and stuff like that, it makes it even better.
Yep.
You know, it shows you, it's like, hey, okay, well, I don't want to be this way, but at the same time, I'm going to
yeah,
soak this in and understand something on this side of things, you know?
right.
Mhm.
Because sometimes when you're in a bad situation, you just gotta fuck somebody to freeze time to get out of it. I mean,
Yeah, sometimes
that's
you just got to space dock with somebody, you know, and freeze
just
up.
the reality of life.
God, that would suck. Just space docking. Both you shoot your wad, and then you're stuck in that position for how long are you in sex criminals?
Don't
How long are
dog.
you
Doesn't that
frozen?
happen to dogs?
No, see,
The
they
dogs.
stop time for everything around them, but they're able to
They
move
always
through it.
seem to
That's how
get
they do
stuck.
their
Have you
crimes
ever
and
noticed
stuff.
that?
So
And
that's
then
a
there's the sex
superpower.
police. Yeah, they like freeze time, but then like if they come again, then it depends on
Dogs
different
get
ones.
stuck
Each
for
of
the
them
same
have
reason why
certain
you
Come
shouldn't
again,
stick your arm
Dale?
in-
Come again.
Dogs
So-
get stuck
some-
for the same reason you shouldn't put your arm in a Pringles can. I'm just saying.
But
But
I mean, it's
yeah,
not
so
hard to
there's-
get your arm out of a Pringles can. Well, I'm so confused.
So no, you don't freeze that way with your partner. You and if your partner is one of you, hopefully if you go at the same
So this
time,
is like
freeze time
special
around everything
victims.
else around you. And
This is
so
like
you can
special-
walk around and everybody else is like frozen in
SVU.
time.
This is
They-
yeah. This
they
is
have a-
SV.
yeah.
This is SVU, but they have superpowers when they rape somebody. Is what you're saying?
Time fucking SVU.
Depending.
This is, oh my god! We have to get Jean-Claude Van Damme to play the main character
His time
in
cop
Sex
character.
Criminal, the movie.
He can reprise his time cop character, man.
I
Like,
think
yeah,
you
you
can
could be
actually
time
do-
cop and sex criminal.
He's
He's
time
a
cop
little-
rape.
It's that same character, but like this is like years
Little
later,
old.
like a very dark time has passed in his life, and he's
And then
found
he-
a new power.
He's
But has
learned
it
how
really
to.
passed though, Raz?
Well,
Or are we
see,
just stuck in time?
he's learned
And
how to
that's the problem.
counter.
You have to watch to find out.
He's learned how to counter their power, and that's going to be the first preview. Is all of a sudden they have their orgasm, and then all of a sudden,
What?
like
Orgasm?
I know.
Come again, Hexus?
They have their
quote Kevin.
orgasm. They freeze time, but all of a sudden he does the splits, and the splits stops them from freezing time. And
That's my favorite thing he does.
And then he unsplits and it starts, and he's just kind of up and down, like
When I was a kid, I was like, what the fuck is with that? How does
Then he
do
takes
that?
him over to the bricks and he's
Try to
all
do it, and
the
you're
rock.
like, I just
He does
broke
the-
myself.
I want to stop for a second and pull Kevin Smith from Smodcast. He pitched a fucked up movie called Tusk and said, if we can raise
Fuck
enough
that
money, our
movie.
people will
Oh,
pay
that's
us,
a
we'll
messed
make
up
it.
movie.
I love the
I
movie, but
can't-
for
I can't
weird
watch
reasons.
it. I can't.
But like all the movies that he made under that was it the North by Northwest trilogy. I forget what it was called now.
he made
Danny trilogy. He made 3 movies.
he hasn't
and then
finished the trilogy yet. They haven't. They
the
did the
trilogy
Bros.
itself is done. They
No, it's
made all
not.
3 of them.
No,
They made all 3 of them.
No, they haven't. They've only made
Moose,
Tusk
no.
and Yoga Hoosiers.
You're right. You're right.
The
And
next
then they're
one is
making the
the
3rd one, Moose Jaws.
It's gonna
They're
be good, 'cause
actually
that's the one where
making
Johnny
that
Depp
now.
dies.
They're actually making them now and a sequel to Tusk. But anyway, like how that came to be was like this random fucked up conversation about this movie that should never be made. Like all these came out this way.
Mhm.
And so right now I'm going to say that if you guys give us all your money enough to make a movie and to hire Jean-Claude Van Damme, we will make this movie.
Jenny, I love the scrolling.
Time fucking SVU.
Rob, you can come back now. We're done scrolling. We're about to get in the.
You gotta-
Steven!
Hello. How are you? All right. Hopefully, I got all
So
my
that
stuttering
was-
out of the way.
I got it. We can restart the show if somebody is willing to take one for the team right now.
No, I'm not, because we're gonna scroll out for another 2 hours. We got to get through this because we have other stuff to
If we
cover.
just use our time fucking powers, we can restart the show and like
Raz, if we don't get through this, we are never covering Jim Jones. That's the next one.
oh yeah, we gotta talk about
Okay,
that.
yes, you can be
Trigger
on there, Del.
warning for use thing. Put them up
Trigger
It's
warnings.
going.
Why?
If I haven't triggered you by now,
because I put up pictures that might trigger people.
I feel like I'm not doing my
because
job.
I'm here.
All right. By the way, I know we're doing show prep in front of everybody. Del, let me know when you want those pictures brought up, or if you want to bring them up yourself, just let us know. So
And now the backstage magic is ruined. Thank you.
yes, let's do this. Hopefully, I got this right. Here we go.
Under the fair use, another author may make limited use of the original author's work without asking permission pursuant to 17 U.S. Code 107. Certain uses, damn it, of copyrighted material for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, including multiple copies for classroom use, scholarship, or research is not infringement of the copyright. And then also, warning, trigger warning. There we go.
There we go.
I called it Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The related content may be disturbing to some individuals. If you don't like it, turn the channel. But go to our website and buy our shit. It's scrolling
First,
at the
yeah,
bottom.
before you turn the channel, buy the shit.
Before
and
you
then
piss
can-
off, go there.
And then get in a llama.
It's time to get in the llama.
Llama,
All
llama,
right.
llama.
So last week we got into Marshall Applewhite. We went through everything, his history and stuff like that. And then we covered mostly the web page, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we talked a lot
Mhm.
about the webpage and like
Yeah,
like all the
website.
mystery surrounding it, and yeah.
This time we're getting into Heaven's Gate. Just to remind everybody, this is You Can't Sit With Us. Again, I'm Hexus. That's Mother de la Mort. That's Raz T. Slasher. And Delphine is here too. Akia is not here tonight, but she has popped in for a second. But all right. So Heaven's Gate was an American new religious movement, often described as a cult, founded in 1974 and led by Bonnie Nettles, Marshall Applewhite, and known within the movement as Tiendo. Now, throughout their movement, they took different names. Taekwondo. Wouldn't have,
Keto.
if it went on long enough, they probably would have got Taekwondo. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. But one of their names was Guinea and Pig. No joke.
Yeah.
That's just
Where's the Remy?
Do Re Mi Tito.
So
Do Re
la
Mi.
Tito.
So and Do first met in 1972 and went on a journey of spiritual discovery, identifying themselves as the two witnesses of revelations, attracting a following of several hundred people in the mid 1970s. In 1976, the group stopped recruiting and instituted a monastatic. That's a weird name. Monastic. Monastic lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is that? That's like
Monastic.
a monastic. There you go. So that's like is that like basically like agreeing to one alien who rules us all or something like that? I don't know.
It's like a
They
monastery
live like
type of lifestyle. Yeah.
monastery.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I still like the one alien to rule us all. So scholars have described the theory, the theology of Heaven's Gate as a mixture of Christian millennialism, New Age, and ufology, and as such, it has been characterized as a UFO religion. Zoltar, I do
I can't tell.
Screw Attack. I love Screw Attack. That is one of the best channels on YouTube. That's old school.
Yeah.
The central belief of the group was the followers could transform themselves into immortal extraterrestrial beings by rejecting their human nature, and they would ascend to heaven, referred to as the next level or the evolutionary level above human. The death of Nettles from cancer in 1985 challenged the group's views on ascension, where they originally believe that they would ascend to heaven while alive aboard a UFO. They later came to believe that the body was merely a container or vehicle.
Tupperware.
For Tupperware is very much Tupperware to them. For the soul, and that their consciousness would be transformed to a new next level bodies upon death. On March 26, 1997, the deputies of the San Diego County Sheriff's Department discovered the bodies of the 39 active members of the group, including that of Applewhite, in a house in the San Diego suburb of Rancho Santa Fe. They had participated as a mass suicide, a coordinated series of ritual suicides coincided with the with the closest approach of Comet Hale-Bopp. I'm sorry, this is written so weird.
Bop.
Just before the mass suicide, the group's website was updated with the message, Hale-Bopp brings closure to Heaven's Gate. Our 22 years of classroom here on planet Earth is finally coming to a conclusion. Graduation from the human evolutionary level, we are happily prepared to leave this world and go with T's crew. The name Heaven's Gate was only used for the final few years of the group's existence, and they had previously been known under the names of Human Individual Metamorphosis and Total. This is weird. Total Overcomers Anonymous. I mean, if you're going to talk about sex crimes or sex criminals, the comic book, I think this is the predecessor to it. Total
What
Overcomers.
exactly is what was that? An Overcomers Anonymous.
See, this is when you're
Overcomers
standing over
Anonymous.
top of someone, and I can't. Never mind. I gotta stop.
No. You started it. You started it. No. You are the
Is this kinda
storyteller
like
here,
no
Raz.
think at all, like medication.
No, I'm putting Raz on the spot here.
April
I
6th,
know where he was going.
1964. It was a Wednesday. A man stood outside on a balcony and looked at the construction going on below, and he thought to himself, "I should come on that guy." Yep. That's what overcoming.
I should nut right now. Right, it's 1960s. I'm just gonna get a slap on the wrist. I should just come on this guy from this balcony.
He might not even notice. I mean, that's what hard
He might
hats
not
are for.
notice. It could just be
That's actually
raining
why
out.
hard hats were invented. Fun fact.
I do it all for the giggles. I'm sorry, guys. We do.
They were actually
everything for
invented by the
giggles.
hair gel industry. You know, it was a whole thing.
Oh God. Sir, your hair is exceptionally fabulous today. Yes, some dude overcame anonymously on top of me.
Yep. No, I don't need your products.
I don't need any of your products.
I
Screw
have
you.
fabulous
Better make a hard
skin
hat.
now.
Fabulous.
It's great for my face, my facial skin, everything like that.
For some reason, I often smell like coconut and asparagus.
For some odd reason. Oh, bro. I fucking love asparagus, but I stay away from it because of that reason. It's disgusting.
I mean, give me a week of pineapple.
Akia
Come
thinks
on.
you. Yeah, you had to do a pineapple week. Yeah.
Is that true? I've never mind. Let's get back.
So Heaven's Gate.
No,
who
we do
didn't
not
have
give
sex
medical
to the point
advice
of
here. Do not take
castration.
our advice.
Look, if you guys want,
How about you try it and let us know? How about
you
we
guys
just
want to smell great during sex, you want to eat asparagus, tons of raw garlic, and anchovies. Your woman, partner, man, whoever will love you.
Oh, we got to pay attention to chat for just a quick second because Aki
Yeah,
said that
it came true.
the trees. Yeah, you guys have trees out there that smell like jizz. That's because of the overcomers. They're still around to this day.
We
actually-
do down here in the South too.
They're
Yeah.
cottonwoods, I think. I want to say they're
Ours is
cottonwoods.
privet.
Like that's actually real.
Yeah.
We have a
the
lot of cottonwoods.
Say that again. I'm
I feel
sorry.
bad for Ghost right now.
I must have lived a sheltered life. I'm so
No,
lost.
I just made that entire thing up. You did not miss anything, and probably it's best that you never knew
That's
it.
going to
that
be
none
one
of
of the
us knew.
short clips. We're going to have a whole story that's just that.
I must have lived a sheltered
And then I
life.
get canceled.
LOL.
Trees
I'm
that smell
lost.
like jizz.
There you go. Say it again.
They are pear trees that smell like
trees.
jizz. They're an invasive species. They don't even produce fruit, but they're technically
The
pear
Bartlett.
trees and they smell like jizz.
Yep.
Yeah.
When they bloom.
I thought they were
Partridges hang
cotton.
out in them because they're pear trees.
I just figured because cotton was white, jizz is off
Um,
bone white.
I
They're
can't,
gonna smell the same.
I can't spend much time looking at cottonwoods.
It's
Are you-
the color
because
association.
they trigger my seizures. I used to love
How-
when we'd go down to the river and
I'm
Mhm.
so
here's why.
confused. Wait,
Okay,
how?
So
No,
Cottonwood
I'm
triggers
you know-
your seizures, or jizz triggers your seizures because
no,
we're
the
having
cottonwood
two
trees.
conversations that are just kind of going together, and I'm a little lost.
Cottonwood trees, not jizz.
Okay, thank God.
She's
Because
very
their
cat
leaves
butt.
are really waxy and glossy, and when the wind blows in the sun, they do a reflective thing. So it's not like a bright flash like with a
I
strobe,
gotcha.
but
Okay.
like sometimes with people, like a flag blowing can trigger them, or
Mhm.
birds flying.
So
Like
that song
but,
Harvey's
yeah.
Flagpole Sitter is right
Sita.
out for you. Sita.
Yeah, I
Harvey's
love that song.
Flagpole Sitter. I love that song. I
Harvey
fucking love
Danger Band is amazing.
you already know where I'm gonna go with this.
Yep.
What was the other episode? What was the other show they were famous for? Kids in the Hall, man. They were the opening intro. That was the band.
Mhm.
I fucking love. I'm sorry.
it.
All right. So
So the cult.
there we
Yeah,
go.
so there's
Oh,
this cult full of overcomers.
thank you.
It's what they do it's what they do while in the spaceship flying away. And also our bodies are containers, but they couldn't even spruce this up to make us microwave safe. And that's the whole complaint that I've got. Because
I
if
always
my
wanted
body
to
is
be
a
microwave
container,
safe.
even Rubbermaid can make something that goes in the microwave. Why couldn't aliens?
If you
I
can
can't even go in the dishwasher. Sorry.
Right.
look,
Not dishwasher safe at all.
if you can make if Campbell's can make a product that can go in the microwave, they should be able to make us microwave safe,
Right.
Right?
right? I mean, I was
Eliminated a lot
blown
of
away the first time I
disease,
saw
man.
that.
Same.
So, all right. So, the son of a Presbyterian minister and a former soldier, Marshall Applewhite. This is the crazy thing. He was actually in the
Can't
army.
see him being a soldier. I mean,
Could you see Bob Ross or I couldn't see.
No, I
Bob
could see
Ross.
Bob Ross as
I don't know.
as a soldier.
I can see. Well, he was Air Force.
Listen,
I could see Bob
him
Ross.
as a munitions expert, just setting up these complicated explosive device, and goes, "There's a happy little bomb," and then bam, in the countryside, the
hit
trees
that happy
explode.
little hill over there.
Boom. And he's like, "Yep, there it is, right over there." Boom.
There's really no mistake.
The crazy thing is, when you
There's no
see
mistakes
Marshall
in
Applewhite,
explosions.
I kind of do see him in the same, not the same light as Mr. Rogers, but he's nice. He's not a douche. I mean,
Yeah.
he's
Or
a very nice
Dr.
guy.
Ruth.
Yeah.
He
Well,
wears a
could you-
sweater. He feeds his fish out loud. I mean,
Could you see Dr. Ruth as an Israeli sniper? That's what
oh,
she really
Dr. Ruth,
was.
yeah,
Right.
100%.
Yeah,
She
that
was-
was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Gal Gadot.
badass.
Going back to Gal Gadot, she was I don't know what she was in the Israeli Defense Force, but she was.
I don't know what was
there
going
for-
on there.
She was there for two. I think between. Yeah, exactly. She's Wonder Woman everything up and just fucking everybody up in the
Wonder
IDF.
Woman, everything. I like that. Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
as a verb. I like that.
Wonder Woman.
Ah.
You just Wonder Woman the shit out of that, man.
So let's get back into this. So Marshall Applewhite began his foray into biblical prophecy in the early 1970s after being fired from the University of St. Thomas in Houston, Texas, over an alleged relationship with one of his male students. This is the one thing people are actually confused here. Marshall Applewhite was very much bisexual. He was not gay, nor was he straight. He was bisexual. He did. This is people see this and are like, "Oh my god, he had sex with a student." He has sex with a student who was of age.
Mhm.
in college, and that's what got him fired. Didn't get him arrested for anything like that, but he
Yeah,
did get
it's not
fired.
illegal. It's just not something you do in a position
not
of power
ethical.
working for. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
But he met Bonnie Nettles, a 44-year-old married nurse with an interest in theosophy and biblical prophecy. In March 1972, the circumstances of their meeting are unclear, according to Applewhite's writings. The two met in a hospital where she worked while he was visiting a sick friend there. It sounds like they just met real fast and then
That
kind of
sounds like a
Caught
total
feelings.
cute. I was just here visiting a sick friend.
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
So he
Really
was here.
going to Overcomers Anonymous.
I can't stop jacking off on people.
Yep.
I need
A
help.
hand job today keeps the doctors and all the hospital staff away. Actually,
I don't. Well, I mean, if you're jacking off over people, I don't think it does. I think the hand job a day is the problem.
yeah.
Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number. Let's form a cult, maybe.
Awesome.
Fucking really? That's 100% accurate. That's exactly what happened
Yeah,
here.
literally.
Hey, I just met you. This is crazy.
And we're all crazy.
That's exactly what happens when you get together with two people. Like you bring people together and they're like, I'm weird. You're weird. Society has shamed us. You want to start a cult?
I've been asked
This
to.
is how PBDC got started.
See, now I'm thinking of fucking like messing with other songs. Oh my god, what? I'm trying to remember the name of the song. You go ahead. I gotta look up the name of the song. But
That's fine. So, where was it at? Here, Bonnie Nettles. The
Met in the hospital visiting a friend.
Sick friend.
it has
at the
been
hospital.
rumored that it was a psychiatric hospital. That is the one thing. I do actually
I
believe.
told
that.
you, Overcomers Anonymous.
He was
That's what I
jacking
was looking
hard.
for. In 1969, a very famous band revealed that they were actually also Overcomers, and this was the 60s, so it makes sense. It was the Beatles. They did this song called "Come Together." You might remember the lyrics.
I remember.
Come together
I
right
remember
now
that.
over
Yes.
Over her.
me.
Over me.
Yeah.
Except for
Dun, dun, dun.
well, they tried doing it there. Didn't work too well with the
They were
Beatles.
trying to like get it
Well, they
back
did-
on
heard
nationally.
Boy
I think is why
George
they got
actually
paid.
carried the torch.
Well,
afterwards.
no, they
He-
did it
he-
live once as the Beatles, and then he met Yoko, and they did whatever.
Yeah.
Well, then John Lennon tried to do it on his own, but with yokels. Might as well
Then
call her
Eileen got
With
involved.
Yeah, there's this chick named Eileen.
Yoko's
and,
yodels. So it was
But that's when they realized,
Yoko's
like-
yodels came in,
Yeah.
and then they came on this chick named Eileen. That one chick they did something to the night before.
Yeah. And
This is
Jenny's
what
mom
happens
was
when you
Jesse's
don't go to
girl, and
Overcomers Anonymous.
Then they got that one chick's number. It was 8675309.
yeah.
his best friend
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Know way too much about. We all know too much about pop music. It has been rumored that it was a psychiatric hospital, but another account had Nettles substituting for a nurse working with. Here we go. Jesus Christ!
Look on your face right now. Okay, here we go.
Working with premature babies in the
Oh
nursery.
no.
Oh, okay. I thought that, I
Sex
heard premature, and I thought
criminals!
that was going in a different direction.
No, it's all babies. Applewhite later recalled that he felt that he had known Nettles for a long time and concluded that they had met in a past life. She told him their meeting had been foretold to her by extraterrestrials. Eddie Torres, the extra testicle, persuaded him that he had a divine assignment. Applewhite and Nettles pondered the life of Saint Francis of Assisi, Assisi. There you go, and read works by Miss Blavatsky, which has her hand in every. Blavatsky literally was one. Not to go off on another world tangent here.
Are we talking about Babushka?
Babushka, Blavatsky, Madame Blavatsky, the one who was
okay.
above Crowley, Aleister Crowley.
Yeah.
the one of these secret chiefs. She was actually legit one of these secret chiefs who influenced Crowley. And I mean, everybody who gets into
And see, that's
whatever
so
magic,
weird because to me, they always struck me as very libertine, whereas Applewhite does not, especially if he goes into this later monkish type of
I don't know.
living.
He was almost a contradiction. He was very
He
he was
was.
very much he
Yeah.
was because he didn't restrict people and say you have to stay here. He didn't abuse people. Like I said in the last episode, he had the most Applewhite was very passive aggressive at the most. That's all he did. Well, you want to leave, go ahead and fucking leave. I don't need you. Stuff like that, you know. It wasn't
It was like Gates, man.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
it was just go ahead and go. You don't need to be here. I'll just go ahead and I'll do whatever with like 30 people. I don't need 2,000 people. So
Right.
More legroom in the spaceship for me.
exactly. So they were very much influenced by Blavatsky, R.D. Lang. I cannot pronounce Laing Lang. Yeah, Lang, and Richard Bach. They kept a King James Bible and studied passages from the New Testament, for focusing on Christology and Jesus Christ,
Asceticism and eschatology.
Asceticism. Thank you. I'm glad you're reading along with me right now, Dell.
Follow the bouncing ball.
And yeah, what Dell said. So Oppie, right? Fucking hell. This is why I don't read out loud. Applewhite also read science fiction, including works by Robert A. Heinlein.
Hyman?
You said
and
Hyman.
Arthur C. Clarke. By June 19th, Applewhite and Nettles' beliefs had solidified. They concluded that they had been chosen to fulfill a biblical prophecy and that they had been given higher level minds than other people. sorry. They wrote a pamphlet that described Jesus's reincarnation as a fucking hell.
The pamphlet was entitled "Overcoming in You."
Would you like me to read that? It's an easy word.
No, this is just gonna go back to some fuck faces that we dealt with back in the day. Jesus Jesus's reincarnation as a Texan
Superstar.
A reference to Applewhite. Furthermore, they concluded that they were the two witnesses described in the Book of Revelations, and occasionally visited churches or other spiritual groups to speak of their identities, often referring to themselves as the two or the UFO two. They believed they would be killed and then resurrected. In a view of other words, transported onto a spaceship. This event, which they referred to as the demonstration, was to prove their
a giant like spaceship changes into a vacuum cleaner, and they turn it to suck.
Isn't that called a black
all the
hole?
souls just come out of the bodies, and yeah.
Come on, you guys are almost there, Raz. I got the reference almost right. I already knew where you're going with that, but everyone else, come on, it's Mel Brooks. Everyone knows this. It's Spaceballs.
Just don't go from suck to blow. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be great though? I mean, like,
God, I'm surrounded by assholes.
I'm interested.
If Mel Brooks made the Heaven's Gate movie, I would
hilarious.
Fucking love it. I mean, before he dies, I'm sorry, he got History of the World Part 2 out as a series, which I'm going to watch. Yeah. So, what's to prove? Where was it at here? Resurrection, blah, 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 transported to spaceship. This event, which they referred to as the demonstration, was to prove their claims to their dismay. These ideas were poorly received by other religious groups. Basically, what happened was when they did this stuff live, they got heckled left and right, heckled. Like heckled as in a stand-up comic getting heckled. That's what fucking happened to these guys.
My point with that is like there is a lot of like very profound religions that are based on just some very laughable things when you first hear about them. Like again, I watch a lot of South Parks, and one of them is Mormon, one of them is Jewish, but they very heavily make fun of the religions that they come from. And they did that whole episode with Mormonism about the book and how he talked in his hat, and you hear the soundtrack in the background going dum 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 like the whole time. It's like all these things, like these crazy ideas, they sound crazy and laughable at first, and then people sit with them for a while, and the longer they sit with them, they go, "Oh wait, well maybe if," and then they start thinking about it critically, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you have another follower based on something that someone thought was completely laughable, but spent time with it and kind of let it get in their head later. So it's really
You know,
interesting how like some religions pick up in cults,
that
but
is
some don't, and they just stay cults.
that is
Yeah.
an interesting way of thinking about things. But like when it comes to like religions and stuff like that, when you look at the Bible and you look at it as a almost like CNN News. If you look at it that way, the Bible somewhat does make sense. Like
Right.
because it's almost like it's telling of the time that it came out in.
Right.
But when you also look at it too, some of these guys who were in the desert, I'm pretty sure they had their own version of peyote,
Mhm.
which is where you get
Or it was
revelations
just
from,
peyote, period.
or it
Not
was
their
just
inversion.
peyote. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Same
I don't know.
planet.
I know peyote is like it's basically in Mexico and here in the southwest of the United States and stuff like that. But I mean, whatever is in the whatever over there. But you that it pretty much was an acid trip, and it was also news that was happening at the time.
It was Fear and Loathing in Jerusalem.
Fear and Loathing in Islam.
I'm gonna call it.
Oh, great.
But keep in mind, like, yeah, we usually don't talk about religion except for in like instances like this where we're actually learning something and like discussing.
Oh,
Mhm.
exactly.
Keep in mind that in no way, shape, or form are we downing anyone's religion.
No,
We're cool with
this is
everyone
just
and every time.
this is just
That's
our
our little
own views
Well,
disclaimer.
on the
and
Bible.
if you look into archaeology and anthropology, though, a lot of religions, when we were less socially together as like an organized society, were often referred to as cults, and they didn't have the
Mhm.
negative connotation that they do now. And that's just because of our 20th and 21st century knowledge of
Right.
what certain cults have done. And so now it has more of a negative connotation than it does as it applies to history.
Yeah.
One of the
Look at
craziest
Alex
things.
Jones.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. There's sometimes where I mean, I guess you could look at Alex Jones and be like, dude, he's fucking nuts. He's off his rockers. But then there's also other times, just like with the Bible or any other religious thing, where there's a book where you're like, for a second there, I'm not saying
Well,
I'm
there's
not.
there's
There's a
usually
s-
always a seed of truth in
There you go.
anything. It's
There
just
you go.
whether it winds up turning into a fishtail or used in a way to manipulate people. But that's not
Exactly.
necessarily saying that everything a religion talks about or everyone, everything that a particular person talks about is not true. It just may be exaggerated.
Yeah.
I
I'm
just
just
learned
saying it's
something.
so easy to
personal
get
purposes.
so many people
It is.
following your word,
I was
even if they don't believe all of it. If they just follow part of it,
Fear.
it's just like he is
Fear.
one of those
Out of
people that
fear.
is able to show what modern technology can do. And like you're talking about before, it was when all these people were isolated
Yeah.
and stuff. We should, by the way,
But
I was
fear
thinking about
has
this.
driven a lot of this. You get
Yeah.
enough people scared, they'll listen to what you're saying.
Well, going back
kind of-
to sorry, Adele, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, we've kind of been name dropping as we go through stuff like Crawley, and I'm sure a lot of our watchers know
Mhm.
what's going on, but not all of them. We're a group together that we all have studied a lot of the same things. Because I know I brought up some stuff with my mom about this.
My
that
cat's
I
is
had
named
talked
after
to her what's
Crowley.
happening, and she's just like, I have no idea what in the hell you were talking about. So if we do name drops with stuff that's kind of a cultish based, we might. If any of you guys have questions like, who in the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Ask
Yes,
us.
please
Well,
ask.
we just don't think to bring it out.
Yeah. It's not a
It's
stupid
just-
question at all. Like at one point in time, we didn't know these things either until we found out. But I'm
Look,
over
none
here
of us-
like wondering, like what is the difference, like truly between a cult and religion? At what point in time can you just say this was a cult, now it is a religion? And I actually asked that question on Google just now. I was looking into it. A cult does not refer to religion at all. Cult, in case people aren't familiar with the etymology of the word, a cult just means it's a social gathering. Basically, it's a social movement. That's what a cult is.
If you
Some
wanna get
social movements
into-
imply religious beliefs, some don't.
The thing with the cult, and this from what I've read, seen, heard, listened to a million times here, the difference between a cult and a religion is the individual. It comes down to a religion puts God or whatever gods are out there above everyone else, and they're not exactly as accessible other than to, prayer or something like that, or on an individual. And I know I'm going off on a tangent here with the individual here, but bear with me. I'm gonna get through this. So whereas you have the individual praying and meditating on whatever the religion is or whatever they believe or whatnot, the cult brings down the god or brings down the person and says, okay, look, this person right here who's leading this is a demigod. He is the embodiment. This person, and it's usually, honestly though, with cults, it usually is a he, rather than the female, the feminine part of things. It's usually a male running everything, and everyone worshiping that one person as the god. Whereas the religion has the god out there in space or wherever that you need to believe, and you meditate on it. Whereas here, you're actually servicing with a cult. You're servicing one person here, and then you're going along with their wacky views on reality. And again, guys, I'm not saying that about religion. I'm saying that about cults.
Right.
Cults are
Well,
groupthink is
and
fucked up.
just to add in some context to that as well. Now, a lot of like way back ancestors, like way back in antiquity, a lot of the ancestral worship is a lot of times referred to as death cult type situations. And that's not in a negative connotation, just that ancestral worship was really big before what we now know as like organized religion coming along that had certain tenets and, philosophies and, things like that. It usually came down to basically worshiping animals, worshiping the sky, or worshiping your ancestors.
Things that people didn't understand at the time.
Exactly.
And
But the religion would, like you said, be something different because that God would live somewhere else, but may be embodied in something else, like an animal or a person or your ancestor's skull.
You look at like sun worship, like with the sun, always it's always there. So clearly that has to be, in primitive thinking people, like it has to be a person who's riding a chariot like Apollo or something like that, like the sun god going across the sky at the time, and it's always there. It's always giving life. It's giving warmth. It's giving something like that. So it's something that you can look at, and it's excuse me, I burped, but it's something visceral, something real, and what these cults do, they basically try to I don't know how to say this.
We're actually going to get into this tomorrow night on my feed. My feed tomorrow night is actually going to have a lot to do with this kind of stuff.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
But you have
and
a lot
I'll
of
see
these.
if I can pronounce it correctly. So we're going to be talking about Globeki Tepe.
Prepare to be overcome.
Honestly.
Globeki Tepe.
We need it. We need it now, right? It's called, and it's like the little Calvin Hobbes, like Calvin thing, or he's peeing on something, but it's saying he's just.
It's just the cult
on it.
It's just it just says it's CULTS.
Oh, can I show my shirt?
Yeah.
Okay. So by the way, his full name was Marshall Herf Applewhite.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was joking around last week how we have to have Herf nerders now. And if you would like, we have t-shirts, and this is one of 3 different designs that you can hop onto our website and you'll be able to order yourself. This is the cyan. There's also a mostly pink and more of a red version. So
hashtag Herf Nerders.
Brought to you by the PBDC.
Okay.
I think we need a hashtag Overcomers Anonymous.
Yeah,
we'll get on that.
We can get everything together. We can do this. So
love the bunny doing it.
Yep.
I left off at, I think, Book of Revelations.
Yes.
So I'll go down there to the next paragraph. The 2 would gain their first followers, Sharon Morgan in May 1974, she abandoned her children to join them. A month later, Sharon left the two and returned to her family. Nettles and Applewhite were arrested and charged with credit card fraud for using Morgan's credit card. Despite the fact that she had consented to the use, the charges were later dropped. However, a routine check brought up that Applewhite had stolen a rental car from St. Louis 9 months earlier, which he still possessed. Applewhite then spent 6 months in jail, primarily in Missouri, and was released in 1975. Subsequently, I'm just can't pronounce the word right now. Subsequent, there you go. Rejoining the sorry. Rejoining the Nettles. Eventually, Applewhite and Nettles resolved their contact extraterrestrials. What the fuck? So let me read that again. Eventually, Applewhite and Nettles resolved to contact extraterrestrials, and they sought like-minded followers. They published advertisements for meetings where they would recruit disciples from whom they called the crew. At the events, quote unquote, the crew. At the events, they purported to represent beings from another planet, the next level.
Did you say beans or beings?
Beings.
Because I want some alien
beans.
beans. It would be much more interesting if they were beans.
It's Morkin beans.
I had
Morkin beans. Nanu nanu.
Morkin beans. Yeah.
I had we made tacos the other night, and I had I said screw it, and I went and got my own black beans, and I fucking love black beans. Sorry. Tacos. California tacos. The crew, the events purported to represent beings from another planet, beings. The next level, who sought participants for an experiment. They stated that those who agreed to take part in the experiment would be brought to a higher evolutionary level. In April 1975, during a meeting with a metaphysical group of 80 people led by Clarence Klung. In Joan.
That alliteration, man. That's some Marvel level alliteration right there.
Oh, I'm not done yet. This is going to get crazy here.
Peter
so,
Parker.
People led by Clarence Klung in Joan Culpepper's Studio City, Los Angeles home. That's a mouthful right there. More than Overcomers Anonymous.
Pepper.
Los Angeles home. They shared their simultaneous revelations that they had been told they were two witnesses in the Bible story of the end times. According to Benjamin Zeller, while accounts of their meetings differ, all described it as a momentous and agree that Applewhite and Nettles presented themselves as charismatic leaders with an important spiritual message. Around 25 individuals were included to join the group at the time. Later in September 1975, Applewhite and Nettles preached at a motel hall in Waldorf, Oregon. I can't believe I ever just read that properly. Waldorf. Like, fuck up everything else. And that one thing I read properly.
Where's Waldorf?
It's in Oregon.
Waldorf. That's also the name of a Muppet. Waldorf and Statler, the two old guys that make fun of everybody.
Oh yeah. You know what's the best thing about this theater? It would be better about this theater if the Steves face the opposite direction of the screen.
That's going to be me and Hexus when we get older. We're going to be those guys that just
I'm
show
terrible.
up randomly.
I'm a dick. You guys have no idea.
Show up to bank and just random places in public. It'll be
right now, I'm like, hey, support some people. And when I get older, when Razumi get older, fuck everybody.
You think I have no filter now? Holy shit.
I'm already 42. Raz, you're 41,
40.
right?
Yeah,
40. Yeah. Give it 2 years, Raz. You're gonna be grizzled like I am.
Grizzled. All my gray, yeah.
4,200. I'm sorry, I'm 4,200.
I was gonna say, you missed the zero, man.
So after selling all worldly possessions and saying farewell to their loved ones, around 20 people vanished from the public eye and joined the group. Later that year, on CBS Evening News, Walter Cronkite reported that the disappearance in one of the first national reports of developing religious groups, a score of persons. Can you in the 70s. This is actually the verbiage
That'd
they
be
use on.
100 people.
I think so. I
Four,
think it's about
four.
4.
I thought it was
Actually,
40.
no, yeah,
Is
it
it
would be
score?
about
I thought it was
40. Right.
Oh,
40.
yeah.
Because like when you say 4 score and
Oh,
7
20.
years ago.
20, there you go.
20.
It's 20. Yeah.
Have disappeared. It's a mystery whether they been taken on a so-called trip to eternity or simply been taken. Excuse me. In reality,
Taken.
Applewhite and Nettles had arranged for the group to go underground from the point Doe and T, pronounced Doe and T, has the two now called themselves, led nearly 100 members across the country, sleeping in tents and sleeping bags, and being in the streets, evading detection by the authorities and media, enabled the group to focus on Doe and T's doctrine of helping members of the crew achieve higher evolutionary level above human, which they claim to have already reached. The crazy thing is here, some of the stuff they were doing was actual meditation,
Right.
like fasting and stuff like that. Is actually what they were doing.
Transcendence,
They're
meditation, and all that. Yeah.
they were onto something before all that new age 80s stuff really started coming out. I mean, there was new age stuff in the 60s and 70s, but it really started getting published in the 80s. And it's crazy that they tapped into that. I'm sorry, it was just like one of those things I noticed.
Well, you
Yeah.
see that a lot, and I know we were talking about it last episode, was that often these cults start out with good intentions and actually are doing good to some extent. I mean, Jim Jones was even like that to an extent when he
Yeah.
first started his church, being able, I mean, he accepted all kinds,
Oh, yeah.
and then he went nuts. So
I think what happens with a lot of these cult leaders, especially like Jim Jones, and I know we're in a later episode because it's Nick's episode or the episode after Nick's is when we're going to get into Jim Jones. Jim Jones, it was more possessive with him, whereas Applewhite, it seems like he really was himself. He was afraid of the journey. Jim
he wanted
Jones,
people to go with him.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was thinking about today all day long. I was trying to figure out like the verbiage and everything like that to come up with because everyone's going to be on here tonight, And then I was just thinking in my head, I was like, what was it that Applewhite was doing? And honestly, it's what we just said right now. I think Applewhite was afraid of the end. He didn't want to commit suicide by himself, so he justified it. He did the mental acrobats, everything in his head to pull people along. It didn't matter to him how many people got it, if he got 1 or 39.
Right.
He just didn't want to be alone when he killed himself eventually. And a lot of
It makes sense,
something
like,
that really
even with how they
surprises
talk about it,
me
like how,
is that
you
he-
shed your body and you get taken by this spaceship, right? So, I mean, that's kind of an almost an even scarier way to think about it than just, I'm going to commit suicide. No, I'm going to be taken. So
Well,
he, like,
it's-
took this thing that was already scarier, made it even scarier in a very interesting way, like, but also not, like, more, I guess, an acceptable way because aliens instead of suicide, but, like, and blew this up. So, like, he took this, basically recycled one fear for another.
is it possible?
I'm
Now, I'm
surprised
gonna-
he actually went through with it, to be honest with you, because usually the leaders don't.
I
I have to bring some of that stuff up. I have a whole numerology thing going later on. So
Well, I wonder if it's possible, being that now. Okay, look, I'm going to tread on some territory here that I'm not saying this is how things happen. Sometimes people are either bisexual, gay, part of the LGBT community because they just happen to be that way when they're born. But at the same time, some people are abused and they go that direction. And I wonder, and I'm not saying this is how things happen, but I'm saying that possibly with Applewhite only as an individual, that maybe he was abused because that part of his childhood is not even brought up in anything like that. But it's definitely a chance that it actually happened here. Maybe he was abused, and a lot of people who are abused, like say serial killers and stuff like that, who are abused when they were young, they groom other people to help them out. Look at William Bonham. He groomed other people, and they helped him kill a lot of boys in the Los Angeles area. Now, I wonder if that maybe this is Applewhite grooming these people He wasn't grooming him sexually, but he was grooming him for suicide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That possibly,
Makes sense.
I'm just throwing that out there as a theory that possibly he was grooming them.
But
to
I'm still
have someone there.
surprised he went through with it because I think you're right. I think that he was scared to go alone, and you would almost assume that when the time came, they would almost be scared to do the deed. Most of them are. Most of them talk really big until it actually comes down to it.
And there's a psychology like with cult leaders, right? Like if you really analyze what cult leaders do, people do this in their daily life. Like a lot of people, you see that one guy that's kind of scummy, weird. You know better than even speak to them because they're kind of dicks. But like they have these people that just flock to them. It's because they know who to target with their rhetoric. They know people that are like slightly down on themselves, maybe people that aren't all there mentally. Like there's different identifiers to people, to people like that say, hey, this person is going to be really easy to get under my wing, to get, for me to control them or do whatever I want them to do. And I just have to figure out how they work and how best to approach them individually. And once I figure that out, I've got them. And then I can do crazy shit. And if they're ever kind of separating
And
themselves
to
from
me,
the flock,
that
I
goes
just
to
swoop right
some
back in.
sort of, and that I would assume probably 75 to 80% of the time, it probably comes from some sort of abuse, and you have learned through some sort of childhood abuse or trauma how to manipulate.
Yeah.
Well, when we look at Rocktario, or we bring up Jim Jones, there was abuse there with these cult leaders. There is Rocktario, the Anthill kids. I mean, that was what was it? Our second episode. I don't think you were there with us, Raz.
I wasn't around for that. I've watched the episode, but yeah.
Yeah, that was our second. Rocktario was severely abused by his parents, especially his father. And then, they learned this and they go over. The only thing with the Applewhite is this was like the cult. This is the cultist. This is the non-cultist cult. This is how I've said it before. Cult. Yeah, there you go.
And maybe that was the draw.
It was very
like
new age.
Cult.
Yeah,
it very much is. Whereas a lot of a lot of people describe the and by the way, so this is the Satanic Church is not a cult. They're very individualist and they're very much based on come as you are, leave when you want, do what you got to do. We don't care. That's the Satanic Church.
Don't be a dick.
Just don't be a fucking dick. Exactly. Yeah. But the Satanic Church was crap. I forgot where I was going with this. I just zoned out for a second. I'm sorry, guys. Crap. Well, I forgot.
It too was seen as a cult for a very long time. The Satanic Church was seen that way, and even when they legitimized themselves, which was quite some time ago now at this point in time.
It's the Satanic Church. Yeah, it was very much it's the atheist religion is what it is. It's you want to go be a part of something, but at the same time you're like, I don't fucking believe in any of this stuff. And that's what this is. That's what Applewhite.
A lot of that got wrapped up in the whole satanic panic thing of 8 and 7.
It did. Yeah, it did. So,
and of course, Marilyn Manson really took that during his career, especially his early career, and
when
really
he got
took the satanic cult.
Can you believe he got his ribs removed just so he can suck his own dick? Fucking hell, man. That didn't happen.
Yeah, I know that's that. And Twiggy was Paul from the Wonder Years. That was the other really big rumor about them.
Not to go off on Metallica here, but Twiggy Ramirez was almost the basis for Metallica when Jason Newsted left, which I would have loved because Twiggy Ramirez he's an amazing musician. He would have did great. He would have did great in Metallica.
Yeah, I agree.
So back onto this. So Applewhite and Nettles used their variety of aliases over the years, notably Bo and Peep, Little Bo Peep, and Doe and T. The group also and several names prior to He's Nuts. I would have loved that.
I've been trying to get that out there for a while. I was waiting for you to mention T again, just so I could throw it out there.
The group also had several names prior to the adoption of the name Heaven's Gate. At the time, Volley, that's a weird name. VLLE with the squiggly line above it. Volley. Studied the group. It was known as Human Individual Metamorphosis Him. Wow. That's actually pretty cool.
Name?
The band name of the band Him.
Oh.
Remember the heartogram? Yeah. Him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I didn't realize that until
now. I
just
want to call the entire Heaven's Gate cult T's Nuts because they're all crazy. And T was there. So I think now that's just the new name I'm going to
He's
refer to them
nuts.
as
So,
in real life.
so to go along with the Herf Nerders, I have to make a Tease Nuts shirt.
He's nuts. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
For some
Okay.
Heaven's Gate
Sell them
graphics.
side by side.
Can I?
Could we
can I-
have like a squirrel on there with like pulpy eyes?
Let me
Doing that.
let me tug on your guys' coat here for a second, just for a second.
Tug away.
Is it really crazy that these people came together and said, "We're done"? I mean, is it really crazy? Because I mean, we do in Oregon, and I think it's Oregon. I think that we do. They have suicide is legal for people who for medical reasons and stuff like that. When you're at the end of your life and you're suffering. If these people view themselves as suffering, is that really crazy? I mean, they really
I would say that it is not, but there was an element of the whole doomsday cult thing that started to show up towards the end about how this is happening and that's happening, and we need to get out of here before it gets bad, so that no one's suffering.
I feel like that was them trying to find acceptance and to make something huge up to also get more notice to legitimize their own need to find an end. They needed to sensationalize it to justify it, I think, maybe to themselves or to the world or something.
Possibly they were virtual signaling at the end.
Yeah.
Like
And
they were
there's-
like,
there's
"Oh my
again-
God, fuck this world! Look at us, we're doing this because of this."
Yeah, and maybe they wanted
Well-
someone to come and stop it.
I
But
think that when you're
didn't
talking,
whoever was maintaining that website though make reference to the fact that they were kind of the ones that were going to show everybody.
Sorry, Del, go ahead.
oh, as far as the justifiable suicide, they never said that. I mean, this was a collection of people who were all, in like non-healable, like, oh, we're all dying of cancer or stuck with pain that just will never go away and stuff. That would make it. But these are just people following a guy about being celibate and believing in aliens. And they
Right,
might
on the
not
outside,
have
yeah.
Emotionally, they might be sitting here on Earth going like, I just can't stand this anymore. Fuck, I might as well give it a shot. I mean, I either die or I go to aliens. But if you're coming with legalities on it, I'm not sure if that actually counts. It's such a weird, intricate.
Well,
path to go
legality.
on.
What if you go to a call center?
A call center. What if they, man? All they needed was what's his face, Bundy. That's all they needed because he saved a lot of people at the suicide hotline. He did. He actually legitimately did. Fucking
I'm working
Ted
on
Bundy.
that shirt too.
This is
Getting a little money
hilarious
through for his
because
shirt soon.
there is a very famous series on No Sleep about a suicide hotline call center, and this was a collective of people that got together and wrote these stories, and it's amazing. And Dell and I actually got brought in to do help with some of the episodes for season 2. So it's a weird thing because we're sitting here talking about call centers and suicide hotlines, and I'm like, wait a minute, Dell and I have already researched this and written about it.
If you really think
that
about
would be
it,
awful. Like that would actually be hell or purgatory. Is you die and you wake up in a cubicle at a call center.
I
That
think
would
it's
be
a factory. And the reason why I think it's a factory
Have
is
you-
because you do the
have you
same
guys-
series of repetitive motions when you're at a factory doing a certain job on a line. It's like the exact thing. Like
Not
at a
to-
call center, you can get a weird call, a pervert, you can get all kinds of weird things in a call center. Weird things can happen. But and in the assembly line on a factory, it's the same part, the same motion. It's literally the same thing day in, day out. You work with the same couple people in your line.
Is there a
It's just- it's
song
the
about
same.
that working at the button factory or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, there is
Well,
a
there's
show.
different
you guys are
tiers of
describing
hell.
right now.
This is
There
true.
is a
There's
show.
I think there's 9 according to
Yeah.
Dante.
And if
There
you're a
is-
fan of Supernatural, one part of hell can just be you wait in a line. You're just waiting in a line. Then you get to the front of the
Oh.
line, and then you magically reappear back at the back of the line. And that's
There-
what hell is.
There is a show that you guys are talking about here that you guys have not even watched, and you need to watch. Is Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell?
I've seen
It
it.
is
I've seen the
literally
majority of it.
It is literally you die, and either you're going to be a torturer or you're going to be a demon who's stuck in a cubicle.
I love the cubicle
What
part of it.
platform is
I've
this
seen
on?
it.
I have not heard of it.
It's on
Cartoon Network.
Hulu and it's on HBO Max. It's Your Pretty Face is
We've
Going to
got
Hell.
I thought
HBO Max.
didn't it
Okay.
start on Cartoon Network though?
Oh no, it is Cartoon
reason I
Network,
thought
but
it
it is absolutely Cartoon Network. You can, if you have
Yeah.
Cartoon Network, you can watch it on there.
Yeah.
But they have it on HBO Max and they have it on Hulu. They also have. They finally came out with the cartoon version of it this year, but it is Henry
seen
Zabrowski from last podcast on the left. It's his show.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's everything is just what we're talking about, and
The show's
then
fucking hilarious.
it's fucking great. I can't
love it.
stop. I can literally. It's one of those shows where I can put it on in the background and watch, and like this is, and it's 100% Catholic doctrine too. It is fucking great. But
Wow.
okay, so here we go.
right.
Applewhite believed he was directly related to Jesus, which we all know.
Jesus.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, you need that to be a cult, to be a leader of a cult. So you have to be directly related to the crazy thing is you can't be directly related to Satan. You can't be directly related to Odin. You can't be directly related to any other god or deity or demigod or angel. It has to be Jesus.
I can just add a US on the end of my name, just Razzus, and I think
Razzus?
that'll give me some clout right there.
I think some of the older gods, though, I think we're all related to them because they were players, man.
Oh yeah,
yeah. The older
Between-
gods
they overcame everyone.
Between like
They invented
Zeus
it.
They
and
didn't
Genghis
overcame, they
Khan,
came in.
our population is just made from some
yeah,
god
isn't it
walking
like
around with a
something
mask
like-
on, being like,
It's why
Tara,
everyone looks to
don't
the sky when you
watch.
think about gods, like you're looking up, like the gods are above us. That's why.
But
Wow.
isn't
Gonna
it like
overcome us.
30%? I don't remember the percentage, but 30% of the whole world population has Genghis Khan's DNA.
I think
Yeah,
it's
Yeah, there's a whole thing
how
about that. They're
prolific
really
he was.
19%. I think it's
So many
19%,
people he
but it's
fucked,
a
yeah.
Genghis Khan
it's
hated
in the hundreds.
It's a
absolutely.
ridiculous amount. Yeah.
He absolutely hated pulling out. He's honestly,
He did.
he's there with me. I hate it. I
And
hate
they're-
every
they're all
pulling out.
sperm
direct-
is sacred. Okay, every sperm is great, and if a sperm gets wasted, God gets quite irate. There's a whole song about
Beheaded
it.
anything that had to do with overcomers and all.
Yeah.
I'm taking this squirrel real quick to run and grab another soda. Anybody need
Yeah.
anything?
I'm gonna read through this real fast because we got a lot to get through, so we can move on to other stuff after this episode. So,
Can we do a cliff note?
On to
his writings, which combine aspects of millennialism, Gnosticism, which is I don't know what that is,
Gnostic,
I'm getting-
like Gnostic stuff.
agnostic. Yeah.
and science fiction suggested he believed himself to be Jesus' successor, and the present representative of Christ on Earth. Wouldn't that be the same fucking thing? I'm his
You met
successor,
Jesus,
but I'm
now
also his
meet
representative.
Mr. Applewhite.
That is the absolute right there. That is micromanaging.
It is.
That is
His
total
successor,
micromanaging. That's
and
also
then I also
called
have a rep
talking in
here.
circles.
Yes, of Christ on Earth. Doe and T taught early on that Doe's bodily vehicle. This is gonna be so gross.
Beep beep.
Doe's bodily vehicle was inhabited by the same alien spirit which belonged to Jesus likewise. Okay, so let me get this straight. Wait, which one was Doe? Doe was Bonnie Nettles, wasn't it?
Yeah, she was the one that died.
So
No.
Jesus. No,
No.
okay.
Marshall was also known as Doe.
Okay,
He
no.
is Nettles.
Marshall.
I was thinking T also. I was thinking it was Bonnie Nettles that had Jesus.
Just remember,
in her,
T is the
and
crazy one. T's nuts. Crazy.
T's nuts.
That's how I'm remembering who T
So,
is.
Vehicle was inhabited by the same alien spirit which belonged to Jesus. Likewise, T Nettles was presented as God the Father. Oh, so that's why he got more fucked up when God died of cancer.
Yeah.
So well,
Yeah.
in his
Oh,
world,
that does make sense.
Mhm.
It's like,
So-
oh crap, I've got to like do our. whole
if God
world
can die of
all over
if God can die of cancer, then everything is fucked on Earth right now.
Right.
So the crew used numerous methods of recruitment as they toured the United States in destitution, proclaiming the gospels of higher level metamorphosis, the deceit of humans by false god spirits, enveloped with sunlight for meditative healing, and the divinity of the UFO too.
So they're
so
an
You know what would be
anti-vampire cult.
amazing? You know what would be amazing is if
Hmm.
they were like the flagellators from Monty Python. If they traveled that way, that would be amazing.
That's kind of actually how they were. They did do that in a sense because they, right there, it said they traveled in destitution. So
Yeah.
they literally basically like bummed rides everywhere. So
Yeah.
in
They were
April
mixed
19th,
between Charlie Manson's cult and the flagellators.
yeah, Charlie Manson just wanted to fuck,
Regulator.
man.
For some reason, I think the
Regulators.
Yeah, regulators. But
Loud
flagellators.
up.
Oh, no.
I fucking love that album. It was my first CD ever bought. Was
Yeah.
Regulators
You randomly
with
break into that song here.
Warren G. Man, I fucking love Warren G. So
He's coming into concert here in town with Snoop Dogg. Oh no, in Michigan, but close by here.
Nate Dogg is dead. There is no Warren G after that.
Yeah. But he's
'Cause
coming back, man.
No.
Snoop Dogg's bringing him back out of nowhere.
I would go see it. I'm sorry, I would go see it. That's
It's only a couple
fucking
hours
great.
away. I kind of want to actually. But
Bone Thugs, man. I wanted to go see. They played here when
they're from my neck of the woods, man.
yeah, they played here when what's his face got out of jail.
I
And
actually worked at Hare Arena with one of them for years, like growing up.
Oh wow.
they're fucking rad.
Yep.
So, in April 1976, the group stopped recruiting and became reclusive and instituted a rigid set of behavioral guidelines, including banning sexual activity and the use of drugs. Excuse me.
If I
speaking of
can't fucking
drugs,
get high, I'm out. I'm just
fuck that,
saying.
dude.
I'm out.
I mean, even
They get away from
even
their overcoming ways.
even Jim Jones was like, "I'll fuck you right now. Let's do this." Applewhite Nettles also solidified their temporal and religious authority over the group. Benjamin Zeller described the movement as having transformed from loosely organized social group to the centralized religious movement comparable to a roving monastery. Roaming monastery. I think they wrote that wrong. Monastery.
He and
Basically, yeah.
Joe actually seemed very asexual to me. Like they didn't have much of a drive, and that was not their main push for
think-
doing this. It was they were lonely.
I think, yeah, no, because you're right. T and Doe didn't have relations, but they were together. And Applewhite, I think from his past, this is where I think he was actually abused when he was a kid. I think because a lot of you either go hypersexual or you go asexual. It's hard to be in between. And I hate to bring stuff up right now, but I am speaking from experience. I've dealt with this in my own childhood from neighbors and stuff like that. You go one way or the other. You don't go, you either become super hypersexual and you want to fuck everything and you want to be a part of everything and that's all you think about it, or you turn around and you're like, I don't want to ever want to do this again because it's disgusting to me. You know?
Yeah, like no interest whatsoever.
Yeah. And I think that's what happened with him. And that's where I was saying I think he was very much grooming his entire group to commit suicide with him.
Yeah.
And that takes time. It very much does. And I hate to sound so mechanical about abuse because it's a terrible thing to think of. But that's the end result for a lot of these abusers. You know, they either think of the quick kill they get right now, but later on they're thinking about, okay, how do I express my crimes? How do I get stuff out there? I want to be known. I want this to be out there, you know. So
well, you can make a well-informed speculation based on other things. So and I don't think I've ever seen anything about Applewhite like young life.
No,
have
we haven't seen anything like that. Not one thing. I mean,
as he was once in the military.
That's pretty much where it was. He was once in the military. He came on to a male student in college and came over. He came on them anonymously. Some sociologists agree that the popular movement of alternative religious experiences and individualism is found in collective spiritual experiences. How did I say that properly? During the period, helped contribute to the growth of the new religious movement. Sheilaism.
It was named after the lady who coined the phrase.
All I know is Sheena was a punk rocker. As it became known, was a way for people to merge their diverse religious backgrounds and coalesce. There you go. Around a shared generalized faith, which followers of a new religious sects like Applewhite's crew found to be appetizing alternative to the traditional dogmas in Judaism, Catholicism, and evangelical Christianity. Many of Applewhite's and Nettles' crew hailed from these diverse backgrounds. Most of them are described by researchers as having been longtime truth seekers or spiritual hippies who had long since believed in attempting to find themselves, quote unquote, through spiritual means, combining faith and a sort of cultural milieu. There you go. Actually had it right in my head the first time. Well into the mid 1980s. However, not all of Applewhite's crew were hippies recruited from the alternative religious backgrounds. One such recruit early on was John Craig, a respected Republican and ranch owner who came close to winning a 1970 Colorado House of Representatives race, who joined the group in 1975 as numbers grew in pre-internet days. The clan of the UFO followers, quote unquote, seemed to have in common a need for communal belonging to an alternative path to higher existence outside the constraints of the institutionalized faith, identifying themselves by the business name Higher Source. They have a ton of fucking names, man. They use their website to
proselytize.
Proselytize, there you go. And recruit followers beginning in the 1990s. Rumors began spreading among the group in the following years that the upcoming comet Hellbop housed the secret to their ultimate salvation and ascent into the kingdom of heaven. Now, that was one thing with this group. They actually believed that heaven was a real place to go in. Heaven is a place on earth. No, sorry. They believed that was an actual, I know, right? It was an actual place to go and visit. Satan, all these beings were actual real beings that they referred to people like us who are kind of like the way Scientologists and stuff like that refer to Thetans and all that stuff. They refer to us as like Luciferians and stuff like that. You know, the only difference between them and one of the big differences between them and the beat boot bop religion that I just brought up is that they still intermingled with Luciferians like us. They didn't think of us as bad people. They just thought of us as we're never going to ascend to heaven. That's how they saw it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, and I really honestly think if you look at the age of a lot of these people, and granted, there were probably some that were relatively in their younger adulthood, but like ufology was huge in the 1950s, and then it kind of lost its popularity and then came back, super strong in the 70s. So just because something was no longer popular didn't mean that these people that believed in this stuff weren't still around, and they probably had nowhere to go. And so when they saw this spiritualism that had like the ufology and stuff like that mixed in, I mean, it was like right up their alley, sucked them right in.
You know the crazy thing with this, the one thing that we actually somewhat overlooked here too, these guys were also coming out of the free love era, and one of the biggest issues with the free love era was that love actually isn't free. The whole communal sex, stuff like that, actually took a toll on a lot of people being a part of a community and stuff like that. And one of the reasons why a lot of hippies and
well, then like the AIDS epidemic, it like brought that to a screeching halt.
Oh yeah, it did. But these hippies, why they became so religious and why you would find them in groups like like Jim Jones's group. I forgot what they were called for a second. The People's what were they called again? People's Temple. You find them there was because it was almost like a backlash to what they experienced in the 60s, because the free love movement, the drug movement, all that stuff actually took a major toll on society. And then they end up going over here because they still felt like they wanted to be a part of something, but then they get pulled into these things where it's like, oh my god, it's an actual death cult. And then they're
it was like kind of a fun fact about the People's Temple. I don't know if a lot of people know this or not, but you actually have to go there in order to learn the People's Elbow. Fun fact.
Well, I think Jim Jones actually was like I said, he did some good things as far as bringing multiracial and multicultural people together when there was still racism and stigmas and things like that. So he did good in that particular thing that he did, but he's also was like an abuser. Once he got those people away from their families and outside of a country that could help them because they were basically, were they in Guyana or something?
Guyana, that took.
I mean, they were miles away from any other type of settlements and stuff. I mean, he had them there all to himself.
The crazy thing is, originally they were all the real abuse actually started here in California near Redding.
Oh, did it?
When he actually, because he moved the People's Temple originally. This is stuff we'll get into with Jim Jones next episode. But he moved the People's Temple to Eureka, California, and that's where the real abuse started.
Yeah.
That was after he went to Brazil, and then he moved everything there because he came back was like, holy fuck, I'm losing control of my occult, because that's really what he wanted. And then when he moved there, he was like, okay, we're going to start the abuse. And then he was like, then the government started coming down. I was like, screw it, we're going to Guyana.
Yeah.
What you're describing is the establishing of credibility. So if you look at every cult leader in the history of time, they've done one great thing, one big thing that no one else was able to do, one big claim to fame, and they used that to establish their credibility to get followers. Whether it was some people, like maybe subconsciously, maybe in some ways, I think that was kind of subconsciously done by Applewhite in his situation, but every cult leader does it in some pretty big, notable way.
That's a good point.
All right. So
before we
go
go on to the modern age, when it hits the internet, I'm going from what you're reading off of.
Is the internet?
Something interesting. I was doing a little side reading, and Rolling Stone actually has an interesting little article. But they were saying that when they gathered all of their cultists together, aside from abandoning your family and turning over all your money, cult members were asked to cleanse their bodies of impure influences of things like fast food and impure sexual thoughts. That often involved things like the Master Cleanse, which was invented in the 1940s by Stanley Burroughs and republished in 1976 in his book, The Master Cleanser. One of the cult members said that the group took it much further than the diet's other SoCal acolytes. They drank nothing but the mix of lemonade, cayenne pepper, and maple syrup for 3 entire months.
Oh my!
You know the crazy
So
thing is,
Famous fast.
when
yeah.
you're making
yeah.
somebody be a follower, the big things to getting into a cult is isolate, keep the message going, and put them on a sugar-based diet. Those are all things that will help keep them help brainwash and pull people into a cult. And he was willing to let people go,
you know, the
but
crazy
it would
thing is,
have to be kind of. But it gets hard after you've had like
wow.
all of that.
I want to
One
write a
of the-
little handbook,
I did
like,
not know
and
that.
disguise it as like an employee like manual for PBDC, but it's really just how to start a cult and keep followers. That's
Yeah.
a funny little pamphlet we can sell.
So,
But
one of
we
the
can cover that
crazy
more on
things-
Jonestown because
We could make bookmarks.
he did it perfectly. He was
Yeah.
step by step, like he wrote the book.
Well, one of the
But-
crazy things about the whole cleanse drinks and stuff like that, because we one of the places we frequent a lot around here with the Akia and me and her father and stuff like that is my father-in-law is this place called Brazilian Muscle Bowls, and one of their cleanses is actually what you just said. It's cayenne pepper. What else was in there? It was
Lemon
basically
juice.
it's called the
cayenne pepper,
Sunrise.
lemonade, and maple syrup.
Oh, lemon-
They use blood oranges in theirs, which I fucking love blood oranges, but the cayenne pepper and all that, it's legit. It actually, I mean, for me, it does work. I do buy that drink often throughout the week.
But could you live
good.
on
I'd
it
try
for
it.
3 months
No,
solid?
absolutely not. There's no
Like-
way. I'm not gonna. What you're saying is here. I mean, what they did was they made these people diabetic and dependent upon them. You know, you can. That is
Well,
a good
at least
cleanse.
in a situation where their brain's not functioning correctly.
Well, exactly. The sugar,
Wipe out the protein.
you need protein and you need starches, but when you actually just do starches as in sugars and cayenne pepper, you're getting flavor and you're getting all of a sudden you're getting your energy buzz, but all of a sudden you're just weak. But that come down is you are very susceptible to things.
Yeah.
I come over, yeah.
Very much so.
Well, that's
They come over
kind of like
synonymous.
the whole mind control thing on as far as like sleep, where they keep you from
Sleep
sleeping,
deprivation.
sleep deprivation, you know, different things like that. So yeah, I would
Well, they
think
weren't
anything that
housing
causes
them.
the brain not to function correctly.
And I think the
Yeah,
most
if they're all
interesting
living
way
in
to
camps.
Yeah, the most interesting way for cult leaders to establish that sleep deprivation is to make everything around you so important or seem so important that people don't want to sleep because they don't want to
The
miss anything, and that's kind of how they
one
start
thing
the sleep deprivation.
Jim Jones and well, you can go watch Jim Jones's death tapes, which is some stuff I'm going to incorporate in the next episode.
I've actually got the MP3s of those. They're weird.
They have them on YouTube.
They're
You
weird.
can go there.
Yeah.
There's and it is hours and hours long. And what he would do was, what Applewhite would do is, in his human classes or whatever they call, they went on for a couple hours, and he would have his followers there just while he's droning on, while Jim Jones is droning on. They had to stay awake. They had to watch it.
Mhm.
And then again, that's sleep deprivation. That's screwing with your diet, everything like that. It just it tears you down.
It's also a
Absolutely
form
tears
of
you down.
subliminal messaging to keep people in a
Yep.
very relaxed state by droning on and on and on about something,
Mhm.
and then you slip other rhetoric in with it, and they don't even
Yeah.
notice it, and then suddenly, but their subconscious picks it up
Yeah.
and like, okay, this is our thing. Okay,
Well, Jim
Well,
Jones added
the thing
abuse
I noticed
factor into
about
things.
the Jim Jones tape is that he would say at the very beginning, like the first part of, because I think there were 2 that I downloaded that you could download, and they're like 2 hours long a piece. That he would actually start making sense. Like he would be making sense, and then slowly, like you said,
You know,
things
one of the
would turn, and then by the end of it, it's like, man, this guy is completely whack. And
there was
Charles Manson was the same way with his interview for his parole back when Court TV was real big. I
Yeah.
watched it, and at first he was making a lot of sense, and then he started getting way out there, and then of course all the jumping around and
there's
all
two
that.
things with Charles Manson. Well, Charles Manson, everything we had from him was after he was in jail.
Hmm.
So that was him just being crazy. And I'm sorry, I'm not making light of what he did
Not
or
at
anything
all.
like that. But he was a product of the system. Charles Manson was being crazy because even though he was on death row, he knew in the back of his head he had to deal with people. So he had to be, even though he's 5'0", he had to be the
Mhm.
biggest, baddest guy in prison. And
Yeah.
that's how he acted all the time. That's why that's why 1 second he's making sense. The next second he's practically jumping up on the table, almost killing you because
Yeah.
he had to be that way.
Yeah. It was
Jim
crazy,
Jones, on
though.
the other hand, one of the craziest things I actually remember hearing, and it always plays in my head when I think of Jim Jones, is like you said, Odd Mother, like he would start off making sense, but by the end of one of his tapes, he had his followers going, basically saying, I don't want to die. And then all of a sudden he's turning on, he's all, oh, you're gonna want it. You're gonna want it. You know, if we do this without you, you're gonna be like, oh, I should have been there too. So go ahead, you're
Mhm.
gonna do this. And I was like, listening to that, I was like, holy fuck. He
Yeah.
literally sounds like an abusive ex of mine.
Mhm.
That's exactly what he was doing. He's all, you're just gonna want to do it regardless.
You
Uh,
want it, you just don't know you want it.
Yeah, exactly. I was
Yeah.
like, it
Yeah.
was this poor person. It was this. I remember you could hear it. It was a person of color begging for her and her like grandson, just like, let us out, just let us go. And this was like an hour before he killed everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was just, it's stuff we're gonna get into, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's insane how these cult
Yeah.
leaders work.
Calvin, I must correct you. It is Flavor Aid.
Thank
Big
you.
misconception. Flavor Aid. Kool-Aid was invented here in Nebraska. Flavor Aid is what Jim Jones used.
Which
Jim
means
Jones
that
was
Jim Jones was a
cheap
cheap
as shit.
ass cult leader. I mean, if you're
Yep.
gonna do something like that, at least, you know,
Can you
flirt with
There's
imagine
actually
the guy?
a whole episode of the Clerks cartoon from back in the day where they talk about how you can't use name brands or you get sued. So they went through all these
There's only
products
5
and mentioned
episodes.
Flavor Aid. And
You know,
there's
they
more than
sell
that, actually.
Flavor Aid at our
But
local grocery
yeah,
store, so I
yeah,
will
same
have
here.
to go pick
But then they go,
some up for
it's
the
not Band-Aids, it's adhesive strips. But they had all these different products where they had like the generic thing of it. You just call it by what it is, not a product name.
The best part of
Yeah.
the Clerks series is when on the 3rd episode or the 4th episode is when they had the best of episode for the 3 episodes prior. I laughed my ass off. I love that episode.
That whole show. Is it safe? Is it safe?
Hey, there's sexy Randall the Mummy Slayer. or whatever it was.
I missed that cartoon so much.
All right, where were we at? Okay, so Heaven's Gate received coverage in Jacques
Fillets.
Falaise book.
Jacques Fillets.
Jacques Omelette du fromage. Book Messengers of Deception. What the fuck?
Deception.
God, that's a weird name. I mean, not Deception, but this how Messengers of Deception. That's actually, man, that's actually pretty cool.
So, that
actually.
sounds like a black
Yeah,
metal
it's a
band
band.
name.
Yeah.
It definitely sounds like it's definitely thrash. I mean, it could be black metal, but it's definitely thrash metal.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Messengers of Deception. Fucking Exodus, new album. I guarantee you. In
Harvesters of Sorrow.
1939, yes. Anger. So, in which Valet described in an unusual public meeting organized by the group, Valet expressed concerns about contactee.
Contactee. Do you want me to just take this?
No, I got it. Contactee groups.
Contactees. Yeah.
Contactee groups, authoritarian political and religious outlooks, and Heaven's Gate did not escape criticism. Known to the media through largely ignored in whatever. Heaven's Gate was better known in UFO circles through a series of academic studies by sociologist Robert Bulk. In January 1994, the LA Weekly ran an article on the group then known as the Total Overcomers. Richard Ford, who would later play a key role in the 1997 group Suicide, discovered Heaven's Gate through this article and eventually joined them, renaming himself as Rio de Janeiro. That's what a fucking douche.
He's the one who told the thing about the cleanse. He's the one that spoke up about that afterwards.
So are you saying this guy actually just joined to infiltrate them? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. He
Possibly to promote something to make money on later.
That's crazy. So Coast to Coast AM, which is one of my favorites.
Hey, wait! You had that one guy that had the serial killer or what have you making studded blue jean jacket.
Yep.
Who was that?
Oh, it was back when Michael Jackson was really big. There were these like blue jean jackets, and they were studded with rhinestones, and all the stars were buying them. And he actually employed a serial killer.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He had
he was also this like pyramid scam cult leader person.
Didn't he own like a Oh, it was in Indiana, wasn't it? Like he owned like
something like that, yeah, and like a bunch of stars, like Michael, what's his name from Wham? I think he owned one.
I know what you're talking about, yeah. So, Coast to Coast AM host Art Bell discussed the theory of the companion object in the shadow of Hellbop on several programs as early as November 1996. Speculation has been raised as to whether Bell's programs contributed to Heaven's Gate group Heaven's Gate's group Suicide, which Knowledge Fight host Dan Frazen blames more on Courtney Brown rather than Bell. Lewis
can
Thoreau,
we just try like a nifty thing and let them be responsible for their own death and not try to blame other people? I mean,
well, everything right here is hindsight. What they're
I
saying
know.
here,
I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I was like, everything here is like hindsight. I was like,
no, I'm being sarcastic.
Unless you're a time fucker, and then it can all happen now.
You're a time fucker. Well, I think a lot of people are actually trying to figure out what caused this group to do what they did, and the reality of it is, he's nuts. Yep. These nuts.
It's he's nuts and overcoming, and those were the two catalysts here.
Oh, by the way, Dell, you weren't being a dick. I was just going along with it, so you're fine. Lewis Thoreau contacted Heaven's Gate for the BBC Two BBC Blast documentary series Lewis Thoreau's Weird Weekends. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Lewis Thoreau's Weird Weekends. Let's cover Hellbop. In early March 1997, in response to his email, Thoreau was told that Heaven's Gate could not take part in the documentary because at the present time, a project like this would be interference with what we must focus on. Wow. Which the next picture is mass suicide. So in October 1996, the group rented a large there is a cat at my feet that just freaked me the fuck out.
That makes me think of the President of the United States of America, their song Kitty.
Yeah,
Kitty
right.
on my foot, I don't want to touch it.
The group rented a large home, which they called the monastery, a 9,200 square foot, um, roughly 850 square meters mansion located near 18341 Colina Norte. Later changed to Paseo Victoria in Rancho Santa Fe, California. They paid $7,000 per month. Wow. So for them being poor, they still at the time, that's huge. Right now, that is probably the equivalent to almost like 20,000 a month for that mansion. Wow.
Mhm.
So in cash. The same month, the group purchased alien abduction insurance. Are you
Is
fucking
that kind of like the
serious?
Trunk Monkey Alien Edition?
It sounds like it. It's almost like they were like they're oh my god, they're legit. They really believed they were going to be abducted by other aliens, and they were not letting that info out.
Well, if
That's
I'm not mistaken, I watched a movie about this, but back before the housing crash in the mid like 2005 when the housing crash happened, you could buy insurance and have an insurance policy written up on anything. That changed when a couple of economic, like Wall Street Journal people, took out insurance on the housing market crashing, and they made millions.
oh wow. Oh, well, listen to this. Okay, let me read this real fast, and then I'll put this theory out here real fast. So their home that they the mansion they was $7,000 per month, right? So and they paid that in cash. The same month, the group purchased alien abduction insurance that covered abduction, impregnation, and death by aliens. Prior to this, in June 1995, they had purchased land near Manzano, New Mexico, which New Mexico is big for UFOs, and began creating a compound out of rubber tires and concrete, but had left abruptly in 1996, April 1996.
Somebody got
I'll get through.
Buzzroad.
I'm going to get through this real fast, and then I'll see what I was going to say. On March 19th through 20th, 1997, Marshall Applewhite taped himself in Doe's final exit, speaking. This was the class that he put out there. One of them. Speaking of mass suicide and the only way to evacuate this Earth after asserting that a spacecraft was trailing Comet Hellbop, and that this event would represent the closure to Heaven's Gate. Applewhite persuaded 38 followers to prepare for ritual suicide so their souls could board the supposed craft. Applewhite believed that after their deaths, a UFO, a UFO would take their souls to another level of existence above human, which described as being both physical and spiritual. Their preparations included each member videotaping a farewell message, which if you've gone to their website, they do have some of the messages up. I can't read them because it's being empathetic to a lot of this stuff. It's terrible. So
Yeah.
or empathetic to these people, not this stuff. I'm sorry. To kill themselves, members took phenobarbital mixed with apple sauce or pudding and washed it down with vodka. Wow, that is that's a fucked up death, but that's a trip, man. So after ingesting this applesauce pudding mix, they secured plastic bags around their heads. Let me just get in this. This is a trigger warning part, guys. Sorry, trigger warning. Around their heads induced asphyxiation. All 39 were dressed in identical black shirts and sweat pants. Wet pants.
They were wet
Wet
after
pants
the deed was
after.
done.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
New black and white Nikes, decades of athletic shoes, and armband patches reading Heaven's Gate away team. It's so fucking sad, man. It's funny, but it's sad.
Why couldn't the shirts be red?
Right? Well, because they weren't going to
That's
go
what
along with
I
it.
say.
They already knew they were not going to be the red. They weren't technically they weren't dying, so they were not red shirts in their heads.
Yeah.
So one of many instances of the group's use of nomenclature the fictional universe of Star Trek. Each member carried a $5 bill, 3/4 in their pockets. According to former members, this was a standard for members leaving the home for jobs, and a humorous way to tell us that they had left the planet permanently. The $5 bill was crap. There's a lot of stuff here. So for covering the cost of vagrancy laws, and quarters were for calling home from pay phones. Although another former member known as the
Would
Sawyer,
this be kind of like ET phoning home?
it's almost like the river. It's almost like the
River Stick.
the ferryman.
Yeah.
It's very much like that. Stated it was a reference to a Mark Twain story, which said $5.75 was the cost of a ride of the tail of a comet to heaven. Fucking nerds, man. After each one died, a living member would arrange the body by removing the plastic bag from the person's head, following the posing the body so that it would lay neatly in its own bed, with faces and torsos covered covered by a square purple cloth for privacy. In an interview with Harry Robinson, the two surviving members said that the identical clothing was a uniform representing the unity for the mass suicide, while the Nike decades were chosen because the group got a good deal on the shoes, quote unquote. Applewhite was
I like the flavor aid.
I was gonna just, this is disturbing. This is a picture of how they were laid out. This is
go ahead and bring
a
it up.
photograph from the scene. So just letting the audience know this is what we're talking about, what they look like.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I remember parts of this being on the news, and all they would show were the tennis shoes down, like
my news
calf down to the tennis shoes.
here in Bakersfield. They actually showed they did show one of the faces and stuff like that, and it was
Oh, did
bloated.
they?
Yeah, they did show a lot
God.
of that. So where was that? 39. I lost my spot. The 39 adherents, 21 women and 19 men between the ages of 26 and 72, are believed to have died in 3 groups over 3 successive days, with remaining participants cleaning up after each prior group's death. The suicides occurred in groups of 15 and 9. So it's 15, 15, and 9. There you go. Between approximately March 22nd and March 26th. Among the dead was Thomas Nicholas, brother of the actress Nichelle Nicholas. I'm not too sure who she was, but who was best known for her role as Yura on the original Uhura. There you go. Uhura. There you go. You're right. Star Trek. Crazy. I didn't know
Wait,
that part.
what now?
Nichelle Nicholas, who was best known
Nichols.
what was her? Thomas
Nichols.
Nicholas. There you go. Thomas Nicholas was
Nichols.
brother to Nichelle Nicholas, who was Uhura.
Okay.
Leading Applewhite was Applewhite was the third to last member to die. 2 people remained after him, and were the only ones found with bags over their heads, not having purple claws covering themselves, because they were basically the ones who killed themselves. There was no one else there to do anything for.
Take
So
care
yeah.
of them.
But so what I was going to get into here real fast. Do you possibly think that maybe he purchased? Maybe I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe that he purchased actual insurance, thinking that he can get insurance fraud, get money out of this, and then turned out it just said, "Fuck it, I can't do this. I'm going to just kill myself too." Being that he was a third to last person to die.
It could have
I
been.
don't.
It could have
mean,
been
when
if
you
he had
think
been the
about
last one, he wouldn't have done it.
The credit card
I
thing,
honestly think that.
the rental car thing. I mean, it seems like he, little scams here and there. Maybe
I
something
think
bigger.
it's plausible. I just don't think it's what he was doing. It just
Yeah.
sounds weird that they.
It's interesting, like thought exercise, though.
Yeah, I mean they purchased alien abduction insurance along with this. It's so weird. It's just a weird thing. So,
In the event that you don't get abducted by an alien, here's some money.
exactly right. Where was I at? Among those in the list of recipients was Rio de Janeiro. The package de Janeiro received on the evening of March 25th as other packages sent had contained 2 VHS videotapes, one with Doe's final exit, and the other with the farewell message of group followers. It also contained a letter stating, among other things, "We have exited our vehicles just as we entered them." D'Angelo informed his boss of the content of this package and then received a ride from him from his Los Angeles to the Heaven's Gate home in Rancho Santa Fe, so he could verify the letter. D'Angelo found a back door initially left unlocked to follow access and use video camera to record. Oh, I forgot about this. So he actually filmed himself as he was going in. He was the one filming everything. It
Mhm.
wasn't the news agencies. So if
Okay.
any of us, like I said before,
Then they only
I
they showed snippets of it then.
yeah, they showed snippets of that, but that's where some of them, like you did get. I want to say the last two is what I saw.
Didn't all of them, and I could be mistaken, but didn't all of them send some sort of packages to family members?
They
The
sent.
ones that passed?
I don't.
Yes.
I think so.
'Cause
Yes.
that would be horrifying to get something like that about your child. Them
Mhm.
writing and say, "We have exited our vehicle."
Yep.
But
So
we did look both ways before crossing the road. It's cool.
let's real fast. Let's
And
get
I
into
had
the
on clean
aftermath,
underwear
I was about to say
to begin with.
right? Oh,
it's important.
it's not clean anymore. Everyone poos
Clean
themselves when they
anymore.
die. So
But
let's
you got to
get into
start with a blank canvas.
right. It was blank underwear. I swear, I didn't poo myself on purpose. So the aftermath of this. So the Heaven's Gate deaths were widely publicized in the media as an example of mass suicide. When the news no fucking shit. Real fast. No, we don't do yeah, there you go. Thanks, Raz. So Heaven's Gate, where was that? Hellbot mass suicide. Okay. When the news broke of its relationship to the Hellbot comet, the discoverer of the comet, Alan Hale, was drawn into the story. Hale's phone never stopped ringing the entire day. He chose not to respond until he spoke to the next day. Till he spoke the next day at a press conference. After researchers the details of the incident, speaking at the Second World Skeptics Congress in Heidelberg, Germany, Germany, July 24th, 1998. Dr. Hale discussed the scientific significance of popular lore of a comet and gave personal account of his discovery. He then lambasted the combination of scientific illegitimacy. That's a weird word. Willful delusion. Illegitimacy. There you go. Willful delusion and a radio talk show's description about him an imaginary spacecraft following the comet and occult's bizarre yearnings for ascending to another level of existence that led to the Heaven's Gate's mass suicide. Hale said that well before Heaven's Gate, he had told a colleague, "We were probably going to have some suicides as a result of this comment." The sad part is that I was really not surprised. Comets are lovely objects, but they don't have apocalyptic significance. We must use our minds and our reason. News of the 39 deaths in Rancho Santa Fe motivated the copycat suicide of 58-year-old man living in Marysville, California. The man left a note dated March 27, which said, "I'm going to the spaceship with Hellbop to be with those who have gone before me," and imitated some of the details of the Heaven's Gate suicide as they had then been reported. The man was found dead by a friend on March 31st and had no known connection with Heaven's Gate. Fucking insane. That's actually one thing that does happen with comments and stuff like that that come alive. They see them as prophecies. People do see that
Mhm.
because it's
Well,
something
and
that
I
you
will
don't-
disagree about the apocalyptic effects of a comet because there was
Yeah.
the dire comet, and that kind of took out the dinosaurs.
exactly.
Rawr.
There was.
there was this one comet.
That one just happened to
Anyway.
be
One
two
fucking time,
2
man.
inches over
One
to the
fucking
left.
time a comet actually killed people or killed things, and we can't
You know,
let it
they
go.
think they
Like,
found that they think they found the actual meteor where the meteor hit in Greenland.
Was it? I thought it was Mexico. I thought it was the Gulf of Mexico.
In Greenland. Yeah.
there was
I'm
a
gonna
lot
cover
of
that tomorrow night
countries
too.
that had that claim there for a while. Like, oh, this is where
Yeah.
the comet hit. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, if a country's going to have it, I think it should be Greenland because it's mostly ice.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why they had such a hard time. They can confirm that this crater was there or was made right around the time they think that that evolutionary change happened. And there's actually like ground penetrating sonar that they have pictures of it. So
Oh,
Pangea, man.
it separated the continent.
But say it to the jingle of the Chia Pets. It's like Pangea.
I think.
anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to squirrel
Well, you're
out there.
fine. I actually
No, that's
do
cool,
think
though.
that's pretty much it with the belief system. The structure we went over last episode with actual the website. I think we're there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we know how that story ended.
Yeah.
Can I do my thing now?
Yeah, go ahead, do your thing.
Okay. One other thing, and this is just a side note before I do my breakdown on numerology and how it all affected me, because I remember the day it happened. But
The bodies of chaos are coming for you.
The bodies of chaos are coming for you.
Good morning.
I'm so sorry, Del. I'm so
shit.
sorry.
I thought that was on
Okay.
purpose. I thought she did it. Like, I
I thought you did it on purpose.
I thought Dell did it. Like,
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Rhoda Tosca did it. Okay, no. So the Nike Decade sneakers that were mentioned, they used to joke about them with like "just do it" instead of "just do it," but they became a total collector's item. And one of the first sales of them, they found an unworn pair discovered in a storage unit in Arizona was up on auction for eBay, asking for $6,660, bearing Applewhite's face in part of its advertising. And I looked today, and today, vintage Nike Air Heaven's Gate is mentioned to advertise these shoes today.
those will
on
fit
eBay.
me. Those will fit me. I kind of want them.
Well, currently it's $950 for a pair of used shoes.
I would wear them.
They picked the
But-
ugliest shoes too. Like seriously, I'm a shoe connoisseur. I love my Doc
because
Martens. I love my
They got a
Converse.
deal on them.
They could have got a better deal on
Like,
cons.
I wear
Chuck,
fabulous shoes because they're cheap, and I get a good deal on them. I don't care as long as they're
they could have got a
comfortable, I care what they
better
look
deal
like.
on Chuck Taylor's, and I'm glad they didn't because, dude, Converse would be through the roof right now if they actually used them.
That's what's gonna
I
happen.
love my
I'm
Converse.
gonna time fuck my way back to when Airwalks were their own company before they sold out, and then I'm gonna get a cheap deal on Airwalks and buy the company before they can sell it to someone
Right?
else, and that'll be the cult shoes.
Did
And
you,
from
have
now
you
on, the
not-
cult brand
that
shoes.
actually is one
I'll
thing
change
that's
the
coming
name.
up right now. Airwalks went through the motions. They went through the ringer. They started off up there with Vans, then they became Walmart specials, and now they're back up there with Vans. I would love a pair of Airwalks.
I
They're
had an
just pricey.
original pair. Little known fact about me: I was actually a professional hacky sack player in my teens, like an actual professionally like sponsored team. Like we did events. I'm not even kidding you. And my big thing was I've never spent like a lot of money on shoes, but once in my life, I spent at the time this was like exorbitant for shoes. I spent $70 on a pair of brand new Airwalks, but they only made Airwalks up to a size 10, like nationally. So you actually had to either contact them through a shoe store or contact them directly to get a size made. And I had to get a size 13 made for me, which is why it was like $70 something to buy these shoes. and that's what I competed. Those were my competition shoes.
I had to get a pair of Vans, and you brought that up too, because they didn't have the big sizes. And it was the same thing with Vans. Like you could, it was the only pair I could get was back in junior high was not Max Cavalera. That's the singer of Sepultura.
I was to say
He's the it was a famous BMX
I want
rider.
his
I can't think of his
Vans.
name. Well, his were super pricey even for time. It was about $100, $70, $100, and Vans at the time were like at the most maybe $40.
Yeah, 40 or 50 was like that. That's what an expensive
yeah.
shoe cost back then. That was.
In order for to get my size, I had to buy his specific Vans. I can't think of his name, but he was a famous BMX rider. He ended up dying a few years ago. And then, yeah, they were super pricey, and they were comfortable, but they were not the Vans I liked, because I like my high top Vans, and I like them to be straight up black soles, you know, maybe a white stripe on them. That's it. I like them to be evil looking, and I suffered for these because they were the only size Vans I could wear. So, sorry. sorry.
Does every
I thought you were
adult
going to say
male that I
Tony Hawk,
know,
and I was going to one time in Indiana, we were at the Grand Nationals with my brother and Tony Hawk and I guess the Dogtown Boys or whoever they were. This is when skateboarding.
Oh, I know you're talking the ones who went skateboarding in the swimming pools in California.
Yeah.
We made so much fun of them. Like
He was a nerd.
Oh, we made so much fun of him. We made so
Tony
much
Hawk
fun
and
of
all
him.
them were literally
And
the
now I'm
nerds.
like, how did I make fun of Tony?
Watching Tony Hawk in the 80s, you wouldn't even see like the skateboarders in the 80s. Like you know, even in the 80s, they started already wearing they're sagging their pants, being the typical punk rock skater. And then you saw Tony Hawk wearing his short biker shorts, his fucking knee-high socks, and tearing these skaters up, being a total nerd, doing all these tricks that these guys can't do. Like Tony Hawk was amazing. Total nerd. Like, yeah, I would have been there with you making fun of him if I didn't know who he was. And then all of a sudden, like, oh my god.
Have you seen the episode of it was a
I could have
kid's
just made
show at-
friends with him, you know?
Super nice guy. He would have been friends with you. He's friends with everybody.
Yeah.
Episode
there
of
was a
what?
kids show and it took place in Hawaii, and it was like something power, I think.
Rangers?
No.
Oh my
but
god.
Wonder Twin?
But they were
Rocket
surfer
Power.
skater Rocket Power, yeah. They were
Nickelodeon.
surfer skater kids, and they'd like have GoPros on them and stuff, and they do all this shit. But there was an episode where they got an invitation to enter the Hawk's lair, and they had to like do all these tricks and stuff to get in to meet Tony Hawk.
They did the tricks, and they had to get him on a videotape to have proof that they did them. Yeah, it was a really cool episode.
Yeah.
All I know
that's
is
just- every generation is learning about Tony Hawk.
I'm terribly disappointed with Nickelodeon. I'm terribly disappointed with Seth Rogen. I saw the preview for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I am absolutely disgusted and pissed because he fucked them up. I don't know how you mess up the
Isn't it
Ninja
touched
Turtles.
by Disney now?
No, it's Nickelodeon.
No. They're Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon
But
owns
to be
it.
fair,
Nickelodeon
Oh, I
was
listened to this
Disney now.
argument last night.
Nickelodeon fucked up the Ninja Turtles decades ago, my friend.
No, Seth Rogen really messed it up. Because the last stuff that came out with the Ninja Turtles, but Seth Rogen has literally turned it. The whole preview was it's each Ninja Turtle has a Seth Rogen monologue, and it's just ridiculous. I thought this was going to be great, but it's terrible.
So if it had only been like constrained to Michelangelo, it would have probably been fine.
Michelangelo, they made him smart. They made him not a fucking. They made him. He doesn't even say cowabunga. None of it. I'm not happy with this.
Super weird.
I am vexed. I'm terribly vexed.
I mean, I when it comes to certain things like that, I am very much an artistic purist. Like
Michael
you gotta
Bay.
keep some of that old retro stuff. Or
I'm impressed with the reasons why you're upset about it, because
Michael
the internet
Bay
has been
was-
going crazy about other things, and you're doing it good.
Michael Bay was spot on with the Ninja Turtles. That's how
I thought he did a
bad
good job.
Seth
I like
Rogen-
those movies.
I loved them.
There's rumors that there's going to be another one. It's
I'm
rumors still
hoping
right
Michael
now,
Bay comes back and takes it on and makes rocks. It continues on with a third one, because the second one was great. Everything else,
Krang. I really thought he was going to do like a bigger like Krang setup.
dude, the whole Krang setup in the second Michael Bay one was great.
That's what I'm saying. Like there was that setup, and I really thought he was going to take that setup and do something bigger with it, and then nothing.
For someone like Michael Bay to fuck up Transformers and turn around and go over to I'm sorry, Megan Fox is a good April O'Neil, and then you had he was spot on with Rocksteady and Bebop, especially with Sheamus being fucking great. Sheamus from WWE, and then Krang being spot on with Krang, and the Technodrome being awesome. I was like, okay, they did great with it. And then all of a sudden, Seth Rogen was like, dude, he's going to do so great. He's going to make the Ninja Turtles what they
He usually does do great with everything. Is the surprising thing. Like he usually does a great job with shit.
You're going to be terribly disappointed with it. It's terrible.
He split his focus too, because he was working on that at the same time he was working on still working on the Sausage Party TV show that they're doing. So like you have to
watch
wonder.
that. But
Apparently it's way worse than the movie. But like you wonder, like if you're working on all these projects and him being him, like at what point in time do you separate? Like do you change things? And was this him trying to go, well, I want to do something, but let's not do it the way I always do it that everyone's expecting. Let me step out of it and try this new thing. But you're trying the new thing when your old thing was actually perfect for this one thing.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we scroll off enough here for a second. So
This is fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
The numerology.
Oh, the numerology.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, you're great.
Okay. So I have to go through this because I have 5 pages of notes, but I'm not going to do all 5 pages, obviously. Okay, so when this happened, I remember exactly, like I was at my mom's house and we were sitting on her couch and we caught it on the news in the morning. And the thing I remembered the most was that they had 39 people over 3 days. And I was like, oh my God, there's like so much power in the number 3 and stuff when it comes to all the mysticism. And so I'm going to gloss over a lot of the notes that I took to you guys. But 3 is the first number to which the meaning all was given. Triads, there's heaven, earth, and waters, body, soul, and spirit. There are the Greek Furies, the Graces. It's the first of the 4 perfect 7 numbers. Yeah. There's the triad of the God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Took Jesus 3 days to be resurrected. And it goes through all different kinds of
3 is a very significant number.
There's
3 is
a 3 thing in the
huge.
porn industry, and this is actually not a joke. I'm not fucking around. It's what is it? Vomit, Sweat, and Cum. That series. Look it up. I'm 100% like not even shitting you about this.
I will later on the night. I don't got to work tomorrow. I will look up Vomit. What was it again?
It's Vomit, Sweat, and Cum. That's like the
I will
3.
Google
like the
anybody
3 things
guys. Google Vomit, Sweat, and Cum with porn behind it and have fun.
Okay, so my thing with this is that they chose to do it over 3 days. They each group was divisible by 3, 15, 15, and 9. And Marshall Applewhite died on the 3rd day, which is also the 3rd day of the week, and he was the 3rd to the last to die.
Do you think that was planned, or do you think all this is just happened?
Well, here's where it gets a little bit deeper. So the 15, according to the Bible, represents rest, the idea of salvation associated with staying calm and dedicated to a place. In numerology, it indicates that the harmonious life state is a manifestation, which also means a fusing of spirit and matter. And it represents the source of cooperation and power. So they jumped in and had the first set opening everything up for them. And so then you go with the set of 9 that they, also real quick to do, 15 is also made up of 3 and 5. The number 5 in science, this is the most interesting part that I found. There's all sight, smell, hearing, touch, taste. 5 senses, the 5 everything. But according to astronomy, there are 5 unique positions in space where a small mass can orbit in a constant pattern produced from the gravitational pull of 2 larger masses, like the sun and the earth. These 5 positions are called Lagrange points. There are 5 Lagrangian points for the sun-earth system and 5 different Lagrangian points for the earth-moon system. So depending on, we plant some of our telescopes and stuff out there, but 15 being in there with the 5 and 3, preparation for everything and proper placement with the earth. Go there. And 9 in the last group that he sat through was a group of 9, which it's the Hermit card in the tarot. It's about enlightenment, wisdom, self-awareness, powerful inner insights that are brought by reflection, meditation, and contemplation. It is the number of perfection in the Baha'i religion, the highest digit that is a single digit, which symbolizes comprehensiveness and culminations. And it is considered it is symbolic of the perfection of the Baha'i revelation, which constitutes the 9th in the line of existing religions, the latest and fullest revelation which mankind has ever known. So if he was into all of this, I mean, you can go through triplets and everything, but it would be the perfect setup for having like everything placed both in spiritually and physically and just spread out. I don't know. To me, that has been with me since that happened.
But you can definitely see.
I mean, you
Crowley
can probably do it
was
with
real
any
big on
numbers.
stuff like that, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken, with a lot of the ceremonies that he would do. I think that's so interesting. That adds just another level of mystery to this whole thing.
And I don't know if he was into it or not, but I mean, they were into some weird shit. And
if he wasn't, that's awfully ironic.
Bonnie Nettles was definitely the cultist, the real cultist behind everything. I mean, like she was the mind, and he was the charisma.
Yeah.
And being that it was only like roughly like 12 years later when he finally did this, it
I'm
probably
sure
was
teaching certain things related to the occult
and
before then.
They know that, like, I mean, was it Hellbot? Was it that it was discovered, or they kind of knew that even within 10 years that it was also coming, that it was going to be a certain spot. So they knew probably what was going to happen here. And then also all this numerology being put there. I wouldn't put it past them for planning this purposely, I think it was just real sporadic.
I think a lot of people do like things like this that are intentional in numerology. And here's a quick scroll chain, because this is what I'm going to call this is a scroll chain. You were talking about the intentions with numerology, like what did they intend this or not? And you mentioned positions. Here's where my brain went as soon as you said numerology positions, because you're like, and these 5 positions are, and I was like, well, these 64 positions of the Kama Sutra. So then I started thinking, what does 64 mean, right? And check this out, because I looked it up, and it's kind of on topic here. The numerology. In numerology, the number 64 is a number of self-determination, generally with the determination to take action in ways that benefit the family, like, fucking procreating. The energy represented by the number explores new ideas and new ways of doing things that can be implemented by others. So you cannot tell me that they did not choose 64 positions in the Kama Sutra because of what the number 64 meant. Because everything that I just read totally makes sense with the Kama Sutra. So
the crazy thing is,
that's my scroll chain. I took this information and chained it, but then back to the original point.
No one, real fast. The crazy thing about the Kama Sutra, no one does math while they're fucking at all. We all know this for a fact.
No, yeah, you do.
You don't.
1 + 1 = 2.
I'm not thinking about
afterwards.
Add,
That's when
subtract,
you go,
add, subtract.
Look, I'll add everything up. Okay, how many partners do we have afterwards? But while we're doing this, I don't know. It's a blur.
I can just see you sitting there afterwards going, man, how many sperm do you think that was?
Everyone is sacred.
Yep. That takes me back, following your squirrel trail to sex criminals. Squirrel chain. In Sex Criminals, one of the few pages we could display was this girl, the slutty girl, giving the shy girl her sexual education by drawing on the bathroom wall. And it was like Kama Sutra in stick figure.
Like a blonde and did coke.
There was a slutty girl in Sex Criminals?
Well, in her high school, she was like when she was
I do get tickled.
Yeah, it was when she was like,
book,
I don't know what's going on. And
I don't
like,
know.
All the parts are in really good.
She's like,
go ahead and wear this schoolgirl's outfit.
And this is this. And all these just ridiculous things.
I'll wear this schoolgirl's outfit.
It's all numerology because you
God,
cannot draw boobs without a sideways upside down 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Just saying.
Very
All
true.
right.
Or an 8, which could be
Yeah.
an infinity symbol as well.
Yeah.
Before we
boobs.
leave, I know we gotta go right now, but I was watching this video. This guy was on I think it was LA freeway, like probably like the 5 or the 405 or something like that.
Mhm.
Super busy. His speedometer hit 80083 or whatever spells boobs on calculator.
Yeah.
He
Uh-huh.
pulled over in rush hour traffic to take a pic of it, and I would have done the same.
I would have done the same thing.
8008.
Boobs.
It's actually
do that whenever I get-
58008, but then you like flip it.
Right.
If I get my armor class or a hit in a video game where it's leaked, I'm always like, yes, I did it. I screenshot.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I guess we got to
we
end this.
didn't ask the question.
Oh, would we set with Dell?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of forced to. I don't have a choice there. The answer to that's going to be
Yep.
yes. But would we sit with Applewhite?
Absolutely, I would. I don't think he's a dick. I think he's very much
I
a
think
narcissist.
he's sad.
Yeah.
He's sad, but I would definitely hang out with him.
Uh,
Maybe we could change it. Maybe.
he
I mean,
could sit there for
hindsight.
a little while. If he starts getting like whiny and passive aggressive, then no, he's got to go.
I
You
don't
just
know if
shake him up like, hey, dude, here,
Would he
smoke
get
this blunt,
passive
calm the
aggressive
fuck
with us?
down.
No, he
Chill.
wouldn't have done that. He was
Let's
sober.
go overcome on the overpass down the street for a few minutes and get
Might
you,
have did that.
centered again, and then we'll
But
talk about sex
I don't-
crimes.
Maybe we
would.
can give you a show. You can talk about aliens.
I'd
Weekly
sit with
thing.
Dell. Not Dell. I'd sit with
I'd sit with
Applewhite.
Dell.
I'd sit with Dell.
I'd definitely sit
So
with
proud.
Applewhite though. I tend to say yes. I'd sit with a lot of the people we talk about just from a psychology aspect
Who
and
was-
just being interested. There's only
It
like
would be
2
interesting.
people I think I've said no to.
I think him and Bluebeard. I know I'm going back to Bluebeard, but I would
yeah, we went back.
set a distance with Bluebeard. We said that, but Applewhite, I would definitely have dinner with him, hang out with him.
Oh yeah.
It's
I'd get cornered in a coffee house by him and not be able to escape whether I wanted to or not.
and then like suddenly like she's
I don't
conscious
go
like
anywhere.
he's all
a
like
year
this.
later, and she's in the cult. Like, oh fuck, how did that happen?
He's just staring at you the whole time.
And all Dale
You're
can
all-
think about is Eppenerger. Eppenerger.
Dell's gonna be like, I'm glad I'm in Nebraska right now because I can smoke in this coffee shop in your face. Because if I was in California, I couldn't
Yeah.
smoke.
So
in
now we
your
have to have
face.
special sections.
We don't even have those.
we don't have those either.
We don't need more either.
It's
sadly.
called outside.
But we have
wow.
nice little heated rooms. They're like, it's our beer
What?
garden, but it's actually attached and they
Yeah.
have fires going and it's so nice.
We have like a lot of bars and
Wow.
stuff like that around here that have those little gardens. But technically they have overhangs, but because they're not enclosed, they're not rooms, and that's how in Ohio they get away with having those spaces.
Guys.
Yeah, they basically
I think it was just
there's
blasphemy
loads of
when
Quons
they
that shut up against the
away with
side of the building.
smoking in Waffle House.
I missed that. It made
have
food
a-
taste better.
Pretty Kitty, who's literally about to step on my soundboard right now.
Oh,
She is upset. She wants out. So
All
Yeah,
right.
all right.
Okay.
So we definitely would set. I would set with Applewhite. Definitely set with Dell. Thank you, and you can always come back.
I hope so.
This is fun.
Guys, this has been You Can't Set With Us. Obviously.
our overcoming spectacular.
Overcoming Spectacular. Check our stuff out on psychobunnydc.com. Find us on, just Google us, Google the PBDC Collective, and you can find us,
Google me.
our stuff through Spotify,
Twitter,
Twitch,
Spotify,
everything. It'll all come up in your Google.
iHeart.
Check out our awesome recommendations, our awesome Amazon recommendations. We got some cool shit that we think you guys would like. Yeah.
Yep. And
By
if
the
you
way-
buy through Audible, we've got some links up there too. So we just make it
Yeah.
super easy for you if you do any kind of anything like that. So
And if you see something that should be up there that isn't, let us know.
let us know.
And
Steven
suck
has
it.
some of his music collection.
I thought you were done, so I was just
Yay!
Dell's all micromanaging me now. I'm sorry.
you wanted to sit
All
with me, I
right.
took over.
I know, right? All right, guys. We will be back next Thursday. Not next Thursday. I'm sorry, 2 weeks from today. Tomorrow night is Mother de la Mort. What are you covering tomorrow night, real fast?
Lobeki Tepi.
Lobeki Tepi.
Fast.
Lobeki
If
Tepi.
you did
Lobeki
your
Tepi.
homework.
Lobeki Tepi. I did it.
Ooh.
That 3 times fast.
We will be going back to the Neolithic time.
Nice.
Huge mystery.
Those are big words. I have no idea what you're
They
talking
are.
about.
Oh,
We
we're
Men-
gonna
covered
get
them
into them,
briefly on
like
Owlite, so
processualism.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did a whole thing about it on Owlite.
Processualism and processualism play,
Yay.
which is
Speaking of
kind of like archaeology and anthropology.
Yeah. And speaking of big words, Dell's got the clutch back on Sunday.
Yes.
Sunday?
Yes.
Yes.
On Sunday.
We're gonna have
Sunday.
Curtis and Lawson.
Yeah.
He is
Are you
awesome.
hosting with her, Rez, or?
If she wants me to pop on, I will. That's our setup. If she needs me, I'm there. And if I'm not
Yay.
on camera, I'm in the chat. So it's
Yay.
part of our
I'm
Owlite
excited.
expansion where we've been expanding all our Owlite stuff into, okay, we talked a lot about what storytelling is. We'll bring that back in the fall. But now we're splitting up and showing you and introducing you to, she's introducing you to people that tell stories. We're telling you
Spreading those
stories with
owl
Campfire. We're doing all these different things to kind of show you all the aspects of what Owlite is, basically.
Oh, I
I
forgot
like
to say,
that. Very
a
cool.
week from tomorrow, Roots Be Red will be back again, and I don't know what we're covering. I think I'm going to be sporadic with it, with a serial killer, some random serial killer that I'm just going to find. It's going to be about murder. I know that.
I think we can't officially announce the day, but we can officially say
Oh, that's right.
very soon you will get to experience PBDC and D, our D&D podcast we've been talking about for a while.
Roughly a week away, I think.
Yeah.
We do this right.
Oh,
It could be. Yeah, it could be.
I am going to do a bit of house cleaning as well, and I think this will be the time. Do you want to announce the new affiliateship that we have?
I think so. Yeah.
I think you did.
Well, I mean, the first one was cool, but this one is like more like you and me nerding out, Nat, because it's such a cool thing that we mess around with all the time. But go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was going to let you do it, but
no, go ahead. You speak better than I do.
Words are hard. So we're super, super excited because we have for a very long time been looking into different types of equipment because we've talked about that. We talked about how we try to invest into what we're doing to make these shows better, a better experience, a more professional experience. And we actually became part of the Mayona Caster affiliate program. So listen,
everything.
guys,
I was gonna say everything like you was like Prometheus was saying like, oh, I love Hexus's vocals on everything like that. I was like, that's what I'm using is the Mayona Caster. So
and this
I'll be upgrading
is
to that as soon as I move.
The great thing about these things, I'm gonna see if I can hold mine up. Okay, so they're not huge. You can take them with you. They're super solid. Ask Texas.
Yes.
Dumping water all up inside of it.
Yeah.
Go back and watch our Christmas episode. I literally soaked my Mayona Caster and it didn't miss a beat. Did not miss a beat. It kept going. While
these things are
going.
They're monsters. They're great pieces that you can take with you. They've got a long battery. We can offer you a discount code, guys, if you're interested in podcasts, you're doing podcasts, and you're looking for, because this setup that I have with all the cords, all the hookups, it will go into your phone, it will go into your tablet, it will go into your laptop, it will go into your computer. It comes with, some of these packages will come with your microphone, all set up, extremely affordable in like, if you were to compare it to like Rodecaster and things like that. And it's still, everything's done in-house. So if you are interested, go to our website. You can look on the main pages. We've got them on several different pages, our shop page. Click that Monocaster picture right there. That'll take you into Monocaster. Put in all caps, P as in Paul, Bunny, DC. So that P is in Paul, B is in Bunny, U is in umbrella, N is in Nancy, N is in Nancy, Y is in yarn, D is in dog, C is in cat, and you will get 10% off the purchase. So do that. I think that you would be very, very happy with the soundboards and the equipment bundle if you are doing podcasts.
They're absolutely amazing. Like they, everything, they're 100% solid. I would back them up.
And we're not saying that, because of the affiliate.
No,
we
we just
looking to try to join the affiliate program.
We just got their affiliate roughly a week ago. I've been myself, I've been using this since the last season of You Can't Sit With Us. I just didn't say what I was using. so
Yeah.
much.
All the awesome
they're-
voice changes and stuff that he does, like it's because he's got that board, and that board has a lot of
Well, and
capabilities.
they've got
of
all
course,
these new gaming microphones and all kinds
Mhm.
of stuff. Like
The
if you're a big
mics-
gamer and
the mic that you get with this one and the one that Mother de la Mort has is they're solid. Absolutely, there's no plastic on this at all. This is all metal,
all metal.
XLR mic, condenser mic, and
Yeah.
it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So,
and
But-
you can do
Really cool things like this.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
or like that.
Yeah. a lot of awesome shit in there, man.
All right, guys.
Check it out.
So
Buy it.
CycleBunnyDC.com. Check our stuff out. Check everything out. Like I said, Google Psycho Bunny the PBDC Collective, and you can find everything that we do.
We're all
So.
over the place.
And subscribe, follow, like
Yeah.
our shit.
And
to
if you're walking around
Discord.
town, you feel something splash you, just look up.
It's anonymous jacking offer. Jacking offer.
No, it's an
Overcomer.
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 So, all right, guys. We will see you throughout the week, and then you can't sit with us. We'll see you in 2 weeks. So,
And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
bye, guys.
Suck it.
Bye.
Bell.
It.
Oh.
Nope.